Chapter 3: Prison Break. Naruto walked into Konoha with Tsunade, Shizune, and Anko right beside him, with a bandage trailing Jiraiya a few feet away in crutches. Why was Jiraiya even in crutches? Simple. Anko told Tsunade and Shizune about Naruto suspecting Jiraiya was ordered to seal away the blonde's newfound power before sending him back to Konoha afterwards, so the third Hokage could have his memories altered if not erased. It was one of the reasons Naruto wished Anko to join him in the mission, as to keep a pair of eyes on the Toad Sannin should he even try, and make an attempt at doing such sealing. That in mind, Tsunade had questioned Jiraiya about it, with her former teammate not even giving a straight answer, which resulted in a punch to the face and demanding a straight answer. In all honesty, the Slug Princess was tired of all the cloak and dagger kind of way this was being handled behind her back. After a few more attempts at getting one, Naruto intervened, saying that Jiraiya was already answering by not even giving a straight answer, and that the Slug Princess's suspicions of the Toad Sannin secret mission was in fact confirmed. This event soon led to Tsunade breaking most of the bones in the pervert's body, while only healing about half of them so they could get back to the leaf at a marginal pace. "The village seems to have taken a mean black eye," said Tsunade, seeing some of the damaged homes had been repaired at a satisfactory rate, though you could see how the damage was done. "That it did. Had my father and mother still been alive, they would never have let that happen," said Naruto, walking towards the Hokage Tower, ignoring the looks from the people around him, and how they were surprised to see him alive. "This place has gotten soft since my time away. I'm looking forward to giving this place a sharp kick in the ass," said Tsunade before the group made it to the Hokage's tower, and she kicked down the door to the Hokage's office. "Tsunade, why did you kick down my door?" "Where is Jiraiya?" said the Sandaime, only to have his second question answered when Jiraiya came hobbling in and saw the man shake his head no at the Hokage that his secret mission failed. "You seem a bit surprised, Sensei." "Surprised Jiraiya succeeded in finding me before he had a chance to send my godson, who he was told had been dead for over a decade, back here to be nothing short of being blind, deaf, and dumb," said Tsunade, seeing the Hokage go pale in fear at seeing the secret mission given to Jiraiya within the one to find her being discovered. "It wasn't hard to figure out, old man. Why else send me on this mission with the promise of having my status as a mercenary approved? Jiraiya is a seal master. Everyone knows that, and you knew the man could bring her back without me. Why send just me? Why not send Anko, an Anbu team, or any other with Jiraiya in terms of backup? Simple. You wanted Jiraiya to lock away my powers, send me back, and then have someone in the Yamanaka clan do their thing inside my mind? It was so seeable it was pathetic," said Naruto, seeing the Sandaime scowling slightly at him for the insult. "It was for your own good, Naruto. Everything I have done has been for your own good, and you have to accept that," said the Sandaime before Naruto assaulted him with killer intent. "Don't call me by my real name. You are unworthy of speaking it. As for this being for my own good, I think you better rethink those words, because the majority of the people in this room know it's bull. And to even use that excuse just proves how senile you've become," said Naruto, seeing the Hokage was less than pleased by his defiance. "That's enough, Naruto. I don't care what you think in regards to the name you go by, since I will never accept you code name or your mercenary status," said the Sandaime, seeing Naruto's eye narrow further. "That was the stipulation for the mission, old man. I bring her back, I become a merc, and everyone walks away happy. Are you telling me I was never meant to come back here with Tsunade and complete the mission?" said Naruto, seeing the Sandaime not backing down on account of his pride being struck by a boy old enough to be his grandson. Something Naruto wanted, since pride could be labeled a weakness, and the Sandaime was loaded with pride in his years of accomplishments. "I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what the stipulations were in regards to this mission you went on with Jiraiya, as you will never be anything. But what I say you are, so long as I'm Hokage, and you will not disobey me, Naruto." When this meeting is over, you will have all your new skills, powers, and abilities you've acquired in the last month to be sealed away, while your mind is altered or most likely wiped of all that you've accomplished, said the Sandaime angrily before he was blasted by an even greater wave of killer intent. But this time it wasn't from Naruto wave of killer intent, but this time it wasn't from Naruto, and turned to the source of only one other person capable of producing such level. Senju Tsunade in full protective godmother mode. That happens, Sensei, and I swear on my grandfather and granduncle's grave, I will burn this village to the ground with you along with it, buried with all the arrogant bigots in this place, said Tsunade, right up to the Hokage's desk, and slammed her fist into leaving a heavy imprint of her hand there. Tsunade Hein, be reasonable. The boy could be the child of prophecy I told Sensei about. For the safety of the village, he must be contained and controlled, said Jiraiya, who was punched out of the room by Tsunade, and she returned to glaring at the old man before her. I've heard enough about my godson's life to last me 3 lifetimes worth of nightmares, knowing any such abuse he suffered could have been stopped by my hands if I had been here. Over a decade of abuse, because I listened to the lies told to me by you and that kami-damned pervert. No more. You're unfit to be Hokage Mai, so-called sensei. I am taking over here as the new Hokage, and if you choose to fight me on this, I'll tell the Fire Daimyo everything that has happened to Naruto in such a way the man will order your death personally, said Tsunade, looking right into the eyes of the Sandaime and dared him to challenge her. The Sandaime looked at Tsunade, then at Naruto, seeing his one blue eye glaring at him, and knew that while the female Sannin may be bluffing, the boy was not. The boy had nothing to lose and everything to gain, with Tsunade being the same, since neither had any love, much less loyalty for the village. The truth had broken the false trust. The Sandaime had spent years instilling into Naruto, through lies, knowing that should the blonde be the child of prophecy, it would allow the leaf to survive, and influence a powerful force to fight for them. She's offering you a way out, old man. Take it. Take it, or she will kill you. You sense it, can't you? You will die at her hands. Slowly, painfully, dishonorably. Nothing more than what you so rightfully deserve, given the reasons behind such a desire to end your life. But this move against you to be your successor is as sentimental as she's going to get, and it would be foolish to squander this single act of mercy, said Naruto, seeing the Sandaime's eyes widen at that, and then narrow dangerously. We clearly have a different point of view on the matter when it comes to being merciful to others, said the Sandaime, seeing Tsunade lean closer, so she was inches from the old cage's face. Last chance, Sensei. Speak now or forever. Hold your peace before I spread your guts all over this room, said Tsunade, seeing the Sandaime not budging for a few minutes before he closed his eyes and sighed in defeat, knowing the woman along with the boy had him by the balls. Fine. Take the title, but know that the councils will never support any kind of decision that benefits the boy. And neither will the village in general. They will always hate him, and there is nothing you can do to change that, said the Sandaime, glaring at Tsunade, though she was not backing down. Unlike the Sandaime, the female Senju had a good reason to be angry, while the old cage was angry out of spite and just being selfish. Tough shit, Sensei. Get the hell out of that chair now. You have stained the honor of the title Hokage for that last time, said Tsunade before yanking the hat right off the third's head and putting it on her own. The hat suits you, Hokage-sama, said Naruto, bowing to the new Hokage with respect, and saw her giving him a victory sign with a smile. Yeah, it does. Now on to business, said Tsunade, grinning a devious grin that spelled doom for those that wronged her family. Hokage Tower meeting room days later. Why are we here? This meeting is not needed, said Homura, as he was waiting for the Sandaime to arrive, and hated waiting. The Hokage requested this meeting, Homura-san. One does not refuse such a request by the Hokage for an important meeting, said Tsume, as she along with the rest of the clan heads were curious to the nature of this meeting, and for what exactly was needed of them. And yet, here we wait, said Danzo, knowing this was taking him away from his business with Root, and any time running it wasted on meetings like this was time needed to gain control of things he wanted. For good reason, Danzo, said Tsunade, spinning the Hokage's chair around, for everyone to see her wearing the Hokage hat and robes over the usual attire she wore. What is the meaning of this? The mission the Sandaime sent Jiraiya and the demon brat on was for you to return to the village to heal the injured from the invasion. Not sit in the Hokage's chair in the Sandaime's place, said Koharu, before seeing Naruto appear from the shadows behind Tsunade, wearing a trench coat with the kanji for Fox written on the back. Things have changed in the past few days while at the hospital. Sarutobi-sensei is no longer capable of running the Leaf as the Hokage of the village. Being the best medical professional in all the elemental countries, I have decreed him unfit for duty on account of his old age and senile state of mind. With what mental state he had left, my oh so very humble sensei made me Hokage in his place, and to rule over Konoha as I see fit, said Tsunade, which was a lie of course for the most part. But it was official in terms of the passing the title, in naming a successor, and she in turn personally threw the old man into a special hospital room, before pumping him full of drugs, needed to keep her old sensei down for the count while Tsunade had decided Sarutobi Hiruzen would live, but for his crimes against her godson, she placed him in a prison of his own mind, and made sure the man's life reflected that. Tsunade used her own knowledge of genjutsu when directed on the mind from the years of experience to put the now retired for a second time Hokage into a nightmarish hell, where Naruto's life filled with pain would become the old man's. All until the day he died. Then your first order of business is to punish the demon brat for his crimes against the Uchiha, said a civilian councilman before he was silenced further by Tsunade's glare. Call my godson that again, and you'll be obliterated on the spot. As for excuse me, Gray Fox's actions regarding the Uchiha, I'm afraid such a thing is not possible, as the boy is no longer a member of our shinobi forces here in Konoha, and has been officially made a mercenary for hire, said Tsunade, hearing the councils protesting, slamming their fists and wanting the boy's blood for his actions against the Uchiha. On what grounds? Said Koharu, seeing Tsunade raise an eyebrow at her. What grounds? Let's see. I believe it was stipulated in the mission by my predecessor that, and I quote, should one Uzumaki Naruto, Gray Fox return with Jiraiya, with Senju Tsunade, he will be granted his right to become a mercenary and take on missions that benefit him. End quote, said Tsunade, throwing down the mission scroll with the terms stated clear as day on them. Tsunade-sama is correct. Gray Fox has earned the right to be a mercenary, said Shibi, seeing no reason to deny the blonde what he wanted. It doesn't matter. The boy was a genin at the time of the invasion, and committed the act of treason against the Leaf by taking Uchiha Sasuke's arm off at the elbow. He must be punished for this act, said Danzo, seeing the shinobi council grinning. Fine, I'll punish him in my own way. Bad Gray Fox, said Tsunade, tapping lightly on the shoulder, with Naruto mockingly holding his arm as if in pain. Oh no, the pain. The pain. I am truly sorry, Hokage-sama. I won't do it ever again. Have mercy, said Naruto mockingly, moving about behind her, as if in pain from the touch. Okay. Punishment served, said Tsunade, while smiling a cheeky smile at Danzo, who was not amused, and neither was the rest of the councils. That doesn't count, said Koharu, seeing Tsunade raise an eyebrow. Actually, it does under the laws of this village, stating any punishment to a shinobi will ultimately be decided by the Hokage, and since I punished him, we'll end this matter as being closed, said Tsunade, smiling at their angry face, and knew she hit them where it hurt the most in this matter. Then we demand to know how the boy became so strong and demand that he teach it to Uchiha-sama, said Homura, as he glared at the boy in question, who ignored him on account of being glared at by far stronger people, and did little to make Naruto feel like he should submit. Can't teach him. Part of my bloodline and therefore fall under clan secrets, said Naruto, knowing that would be the official story. You will teach him how your taijutsu style and the way you wielded that sword, said Koharu, seeing the boy shake his head no. Out of the question. They are part of my clan's style on my mother's side, lied Naruto, seeing the councils gritting their teeth in anger. Besides, Gray Fox is a mercenary now, and doesn't answer to you. He only answers to me, as I was able to get him signed a fat contract for several years of service, and will only answer to me. In the event I am removed from my position via coup, assassination, retirement, or any kind of ousting in general, then he can be freed of all responsibilities to working for the Leaf, while living his life how he sees fit, said Sinead, showing them a copy of the contract with the Hokage's seal on it, with her signature. Then we order you to punish the boy further than that simple poke of yours, said Danzo, seeing Sinead looking at him with narrowed eyes. And who or what gives you the authority to order me around? The Sandane may have let you do that, if only to ease his guilt over where my godson is concerned. But let me make one thing crystal clear, so this is understood right here, and now for everyone in this room. I am the Hokage. I cannot and will not be ordered by anyone in this room to do something I disagree with. This is not a democracy. It is a dictatorship, and I am the ruler of it whether you Bacchus like it or not. If you don't, resign. I can find plenty of people capable of replacing you, and don't think I can't, said Sinead, seeing the members of the civilian council trembling in fear. What about the Uchiha? His arm needs to be put back into place, and soon, said Koharu, seeing Sinead scowl at her. I already did the surgery. Had my medic program been implemented years ago like I had requested, then your precious Uchiha would have been healed already, and the sudden need to have me back here would not be required at all. Not that it matters right now. The boy is going to need intense physical therapy to make the arm work again properly, and even then forming hand signs for jutsus, much less one in particular, in his arsenal will be exceedingly difficult. In fact, he should have never learned that kind of jutsu in the first place by his so-called sensei, and I intend to deal with the man accordingly in my own way, said Sinead, knowing she and Hatake were going to have a nice long chat about this. Hokage-sama, what of my daughter? I've been tied up in clan business recently that I can't spend any time visiting her, said Hayashi, as he was dealing with a flurry of activity within his clan, and dealing with his twin brother's son regarding the truth behind that day so many years ago. She's doing fine now, Hayashi, though I don't need to express to you on just how upset I am at her cousin's actions. Had I not come back to heal her injuries, they could have been damaging to her in the distant future, and maybe even death if too much strain from due to her shinobi training, said Sinead, seeing Hayashi nod. I am dealing with that at home as we speak, Hokage-sama, said Hayashi with the female Hokage, looking at him for a second before readdressing everyone else. This meeting is now officially over. Everyone here except Shizune and Gray Fox are allowed to leave before I throw you out, said Sinead, seeing everyone leave with only her assistant and Naruto staying behind. Not a bad first day as Hokage, said Naruto, grinning at Sinead, who smirked back, and so did Shizune. I think I laid down the law pretty well, said Sinead confidently. Just make sure you constantly enforce it, said Naruto, seeing Sinead nod in agreement. I have no problem doing that, said Sinead, grinning at him. I've noticed. If you have no assignments for me, godmother, I'll take my leave and take care of some things at the Namikaze Estates, said Naruto before leaving the room. You're playing a dangerous game here, Sinead-heim, said Jiraiya, who was now fully healed and was concerned by how things were now changing. Like you and Sensei did with Naruto. The only reason I don't destroy you permanently is because of your skills and spy network. Sensei may have let you go about doing whatever you wanted while ignoring your godson, but I won't tolerate it, and make sure you pay up to your mistakes regarding Minato's son, said Sinead, knowing Jiraiya wasn't going to like that. And what exactly did you have in mind? Said Jiraiya cautiously. Give Naruto the toad summoning contract, said Sinead simply. No, out of the question, Sinead. With Kyuubi's chakra added to the mix of his own, Naruto could easily summon Gamabunta, and the Toad boss has never been happy ever since Minato died, said Jiraiya, seeing Sinead's eyes narrow at him. Perhaps Gamabunta won't be so grumpy upon learning Minato's son is alive. Did you even think of that? Of course you did, but then again, you always did use every muscle in your body except the one that counted. And we both know it's not the one down there I'm referring to, said Tsunade, seeing Jiraiya grimace. Damn it, Tsunade. The boy could undo everything about the way things are done in the elemental countries. That's a lot of upheaval, a lot of pain, a lot of death, said Jiraiya, hoping to appeal to the doctor in Tsunade. Maybe you're right about the upheaval Naruto will cause, but right now the world is in a painful state of the same old routine. And I, for one, am sick of it. You will teach Naruto how to summon toads, or I will summon one of my slugs to tell the toads the truth about Minato's son, and how you kept it from Gamabunta, said Tsunade, seeing Jiraiya go pale, knowing the resulting aftermath of that situation. Gamabunta would remove Jiraiya from summoning toads and perform an emergency summons to give Naruto that honor personally. All right, fine. I just hope you know what you're doing, Tsunade, said Jiraiya before leaving from the very window he was on. Hokage Tower interrogation, holding cells with the Sound 4. They sat there detained, each in a small prison cell barely large enough to hold a bed. A less than sanitary-looking toilet was connected to the wall several feet from where they each sleep, and all four of them wanted out. Each one of them different, but had served a single purpose in following one person, and loyally without question. They were the Sound 4. How do we get out of here? Anyone have an idea? Said Katamaru, since the walls were not thick enough to keep out their voices. A tactic used by the Leaf to eavesdrop on information prisoners give to each other when bored and need something to do. No. Not surprising given our chakra is temporarily sealed away in these shackles, said Sakan calmly. What about you, Jarabo? Can't you use that strength of yours to smash one of these walls down? Said Ukon next to his brother. No. The walls are strong enough to repel my level of strength, said Jirobo, having hit the wall, and it made a loud noise just without the dent. Keep it down, fat ass. Some of us are trying to sleep, said Tayuya at being denied sleep through their talking of escape. What's wrong, Tayuya-chan? Trying to have naughty dreams about that blonde again, said Sakan, laughing with the others, knowing the red-headed girl of the group had been heard having such dreams after Tayuya witnessed some of the blonde's skills fighting Orochimaru before she lost complete consciousness. Shut the fuck up! It wasn't like that. I dreamt he was beating the crap out of me, said Tayuya, blushing red with embarrassment, and their laughter increased. Oh, it was one of those naughty dreams. I didn't take you for a sub-Tayuya-chan, said Kitamaru, making the others laugh harder, and Tayuya angrier. Shut up, you cock-sucking pig fucker, said Tayuya, punching the wall, and kept hearing the others laughing at her. The laughter at the girl's expense was soon cut short when a powerful explosion on the wall, farthest from each of them, shook the area around them to reveal Kabuto, Kimimaro, and an assault squad of sound shinobi. With ease, he freed them of their shackles and motioned them to follow. Orochimaru-sama may be gone, but that doesn't mean your duty to him is gone, as I am in charge, and you will now be taking orders from me, said Kabuto, seeing the Sound 4 nod, though he missed Tayuya looking back at the Leaf when they began to flee. She didn't know why, but the thought of working for Orochimaru's second-in-command wasn't exactly make her here jump for joy. And there was always a chance they would get caught. Not just by the Junin or the Anbu, but by the blonde brat responsible for their master's death. And Tayuya didn't want to fight a guy like that on account of so many different stories being told that didn't really make sense to her. The kid was a demon. The demon had broken free, was possessing its vessel while tearing apart people all over the village. It didn't make sense to her. Hokage's office. There's been a break-in at the interrogation cells. All 4 of Orochimaru's bodyguards have escaped, said a Chunin, running into the Hokage's office. Dispatch any shinobi we can to catch them. I want 2 of them alive at the very least, said Tsunade before turning to Naruto, who also happened to be in the office discussing some ideas for the changes made to the academy while replacing the instructors there with the exception of Eruka.
I suppose you want my help with this, right? Okay, time to earn my fee, said Naruto, as he was heading out via the window, since heading out through the door would only make the Sound 4 get farther away.
Naruto, please be careful on all counts. I don't know who is sent to free Orochimaru's bodyguards, but they are clearly being led by someone strong, and I don't need to remind you of the possibility of foes within the village too, said Tsunade, as she knew like her godson did that there were still a large number of people who hated Naruto, and among the shinobi in the majority would gladly use this mission to get what they want. I'll keep an eye out for them, said Naruto, giving a mock salute, and then leaped through the window. Send Neko's and her team out to support him, said Tsunade, as she saw Shizune nod, and left to get the team dispatched. Outside of Konoha sometime later, we have to hurry. By now, Leaf forces have been sent out to capture or kill us should we prove to be too much trouble, said Kabuto, as he had no intention of staying in the Leaf's territory any more than he had to, and fight its forces. It would only bring more into Rice Country, and Kabuto didn't want to give Leaf Shinobi an excuse to enter the country to hunt for sound bases. How much further, said Kitamaro, as he leaped through the trees behind Kabuto, and was a bit surprised to see Kimimaro out in the field given the albino's condition. Not too far. Within the next few hours, we will be free of the Leaf, and all its shinobi, said Kabuto, smirking at outsmarting Konoha's forces. Of course, the smirk was soon removed from his face when a barrage of kunai struck from the trees, killing some of the sound shinobi, and hit Jirobo in his right arm. Crying out in pain, Jirobo, along with everyone else, now looked around to see just who had the guts to strike out so suddenly, and formed a defensive formation around Kabuto when they went for solid ground. You should have suppressed your chakra. It would have made it more difficult to find you, said Naruto through the shadows of the forest while looking at the sound shinobi. It's him, thought Tayuya, knowing without her flute she was screwed. So Konoha demon vessel has come to hunt us down like the pet he is to them. I find it interesting you would have a fox in you, yet the way you obediently go to fetch us at the command of the Hokage, and makes me think you're more of a pet dog on a leash, said Kabuto, earning a few snickers from the group. And what were you to Orochimaru? His best friend? His confidant? Maybe you were something more, which if discovered would be frowned upon, and your position of power, in being his second in command, was tainted. Further, I have no problem with you being his butt buddy, but I'm sure if the public knew just what you had to do in order to be in such a position of power, while in sound would destroy any kind of recruitment drive needed to restore its ranks after the failed invasion, said Naruto, laughing at the sight of green face from those around Kabuto and the angry snarl that came to the man's face. How dare you! I will not let some abomination of the Leaf like you talk that way to me, said Kabuto, narrowing his eyes at the forest while trying to find Naruto. You think that I care about what you call me? I've heard it all before. Monster. Demon. QB brat. I've heard her kill a fox. Burn him. Skin him. And while that last part never happened, I have had quite a few close calls. So don't think you can intimidate or anger me in order to throw my game off. Still, it would be wrong not to offer you this one chance to surrender, and come quietly. However, if you still prefer that I drag you back to the Leaf kicking, screaming, and without a few limbs with the risk of slowly bleeding to death, then I will gladly accommodate you, said Naruto prior to leaping quickly from his spot at the tree at lightning fast speed and sliced Kitamaro in half with his HF sword before disappearing from sight by jumping back into the trees. Holy shit, said Tayuya as she saw Kidomaru fall down crying in pain while his life was now dwindling down to nothing and would soon meet his end. Don't just stand there, you idiots. Go get him, said Kabuto, pointing to the area where Naruto had leapt, and the sound shinobi he came with now pursued the mercenary. Only for the sound of a metallic blade being heard tearing through flesh, the screams of the victims of the weapon used, and the limbs that fell from the trees while raining blood. Sakon, being too scared to fight Naruto, tried to flee to the borders of Rice Country, but the blonde had thrown his HF sword at the man and pierced his heart, killing him along with his brother Ukon in the process. Surrender or die, said Naruto again from the shadows of the forest. Come down here and fight us, said Kimimaro before he coughed violently, and blood fell onto his hand being coughed into. Why should I give up my advantage? Said Naruto, seeing Tayuya backing away from the group of sound shinobi. But unlike Sakan, the redhead was inching towards the direction of the leap. It would appear this girl doesn't want to be killed by you, said Ocelot inside Naruto's head, and the boy nodded. Use it to your advantage. It's clear the others aren't redeemable. You'll have to kill them with the exception of the redhead, said Frank, knowing it will be the only way Tayuya was going to get back to the leaf alive. Then we'll make you, said Jirobo, moving to grab the HF sword and chop every tree in this damn forest in half. Only for a pair of chakra strings to shoot out from above, wrap around the hilt, and bring it back to the hands of its master. You should know better than to go for my sword. It's a rare one-of-a-kind made weapon. For shame on you, said Naruto in an almost mocking voice, as he wiped off the blood and quietly moved to another position in the trees. Don't you dare mock me. I don't care if I'm injured. I'll kill you, said Jirobo before smashing a tree down. Then another, and then another while draining what little energy he had left due to his injuries. What a mindless thing he is, thought Naruto, seeing Jirobo acting like a crazed animal and lashing out at everything around him. Even Kimimaro and Kabuto. The big guy was going to strike out against Tayuya, but the redhead had enough of him, and the association with the sound in general. So used what taijutsu skills she possessed to dodge the large man's attacks, and launched a spin kick to his face with all the strength she could put into it with the blow behind it, sending him back a few feet with bruise on his face. Calm the fuck down and stay the hell away from me, you fat ass, said Tayuya. But only this time Jirobo didn't do what she yelled and tried again to hurt her, and succeeded by hitting her with his good arm and sent her into a tree, knocking the poor girl out. I've wanted to do that for a while now, said Jirobo, feeling pretty good right now, and had surprisingly calmed down. Before a certain HF sword pierced the man's back and went through his chest with blood shooting out like a fountain. Die, fool, said Naruto, in a whispered voice filled with a cold hatred to it, before pulling out the blade with one quick yank with the man's blood covering him. Now it's your turn, said Kimimaro, creating bony ice pick-shaped weapon, and tried to stab Naruto with it. Keyword being tried. Naruto was dodging the strikes aimed at body while trying to slice Kimimaro to pieces in return, with the albino leaping away from the swordsman before bringing out a bow staff made from both his arms stretched out horizontally. Soon the two warriors were fighting each other in a strange, almost artistic display of two warriors battling it out, with the winner earning the privilege of survival and to fight another day. You will pay for killing Orochimaru-sama, said Kimimaro, trying to bring his weapon down upon Naruto's head, but the blonde dodged it at the last second, landed a solid slash diagonally upon the albino's back, and stained it red with blood from the wound. The man had no honor, much like his sensei. All who follow him will die by my sword, said Naruto, knowing his HF sword had sliced through Kimimaro's spine, and was now paralyzed from the waist down. No, I cannot die this way. Orochimaru-sama's revenge it must be completed, said Kimimaro, as he tried to get up, but his body was too weak, and given how it was weak already, it did not have the strength to get off the ground. And now there is just one snake left, said Naruto before a hand went through his back, out of his chest, and gasped at the pain. It's always the last snake that gets you, boy. Not the first, not the second, or any other before the last. Just the last, said Kabuto, grinning at his victory at being patient and killing the brat. Before Naruto went poof, right in front of him. I love shadow clones, said Naruto from behind Kabuto after slicing through the man's head. How did he get behind me like that? Thought Kabuto for the last time in his life, with his eyes now looking up at Naruto from his position before death took him. A kill truly worthy of recognition. From late Momochi Zabuza, thought Naruto, knowing how the late missing nin had been a master of the silent kill. And this was one worthy of praise. Putting his sword away, Naruto turned to the unconscious redhead, slumped against a tree with her back imprinted on it, and scooped the girl up into his arms bridal style. Moments before Neko's Ambu team arrived, they were surprised to see all, but one of the Sound Four had been killed, and the team that sprung the group free was dead too. "What happened?" said Neko, seeing blood still dropping from the trees down to where the body parts of Sound Shinobi team had been. "I killed them all. Well, except this one. I gave them a chance to surrender, and only the redhead took it. She got hit by the big guy over there for her troubles. I have a feeling she'll tell Ibiki and Anko anything they want to know from here on out," said Naruto, seeing the group of Ambu nod before they escorted Naruto back to the village, knowing a Chunin and Junin cleanup crew would come along to handle this mess. Konoha Hospital several days later. Naruto smiled at seeing Hinata finally being released from the hospital after Tsunade had fixed her injuries, and was now cleared for shinobi duty once more. The girl wore her usual attire with the large jacket worn to cover up the hidden beauty Naruto knew she possessed yet hid out of reasons of shyness. Not that Naruto would blame her, as every single male pervert around their age would be staring at her now, and then later when physical maturity kicked in. "Ready to take on the world?" said Naruto, dressed in black pants, steel-toed boots, and t-shirt with silver-gray fox on the back, with lightning flashing around it. "Yes," said Hinata, knowing Naruto was joking when he asked that question, and really meant was she ready to get back to training. "Great! I know a spot where we can train to give those muscles of yours a nice workout after being in that hospital bed for so long," said Naruto, seeing the girl blush at the idea of training with her crush. "This girl reminds me so much of Eva with her shyness. Even the determination this girl showed when she fought her cousin is just like Eva's too," thought Big Boss, watching silently to see how things went with the two. "I heard you're a mercenary now," said Hinata, while surprising herself in not stuttering when around him. "I see word travels fast. Not surprising, really. Did you also hear about my heritage being revealed too?" said Naruto, smirking at the girl, knowing she did, and the people were not happy about the news. Tsunade had gotten a lot of protests from the councils, trying to deny he was the child of the Yondaime, and Uzumaki Kushina while questioning the legitimacy of the marriage. Tsunade had produced all the needed documentation, as well as DNA tests using what was on file, and compared it to Naruto's, showing that he was indeed the son of the two great leaf shinobi. In all honesty, Tsunade herself was against the idea Naruto proposed in revealing his heritage to the leaf, due to Iwa still being bitter over what his father did, and yet Naruto didn't seem to care. Naruto told her that he would tell the Tsuchikage about how the leaf went against his father's dying wish and treated him like garbage to make the cage feel better, to square away such ideas of revenge. What better way for Iwa to have its revenge than knowing the leaf did what they would desire in terms of payment for them, and call things even with the two villages? Tsunade had to agree with that logic. Besides, it was clear from what she could squeeze out of Jiraiya about Akatsuki that Iwa's own two demon vessels were targets, and Naruto didn't want his kin to suffer anymore. He wanted them united together with him, with a purpose far greater than protecting the very villages that hated them. The only exception among the villages was Kumo, but even then it was no doubt due to the Raikage actually caring about his younger brother, and to a slightly lesser extent, Nii Gito. In short, Naruto was proposing an outfit designed to serve the elemental countries as a whole, but not favor any of them, and only help the side they felt was right. Tsunade had been worried how the villages would react to that kind of idea, but Naruto had told her at this point in life, if change was not done, then the world would destroy itself, and no one would win in the end should that occur. So Naruto was given a secret mission when outside of the leaf on missions to find his other demon vessel kin and ask them to join his new group called Foxhound, to carve out a place for themselves within the elemental countries, which would be named Outer Heaven in honor of Big Boss, and live up to its namesake. It was to be a place of sanctuary for people just like Naruto, his kin, and any others out there within the deep recesses of the elemental countries suffering from the abusive exploitations caused by the arrogant bigots in power. Even now, Naruto could get quite a few people here in the Leaf to join, and they'd do so willingly to get away from here. "Yes. I imagine you've gotten quite a few girls seeking to date you," said Hinata, though there was a hint of depression in her voice, which Naruto picked up on, and he smirked at her. A few. Not many, really. Besides, I don't like girls in that way if they just want me for my status, when at one point, they would sooner spit on me because they thought I was a mere piece of trash and had nothing to offer them, said Naruto as he saw Hinata stand up straighter now at his words, and a smile with eyes filled with hope appearing on her face. I agree. One should not do such things simply for status, said Hinata before they had reached the training ground. Naruto had brought them too. A girl after my own heart. But enough about me. Let's focus on you and getting those lazy muscles of yours back into shape. I'll even make a deal with you. If you can land one successful hit on my body, I'll take you out on a date and we can get to know each other better, said Naruto, getting into CQC, and a severely blushing Hinata getting into gentle fist. That's what I call motivation, thought Hinata, as she would earn that date and show him she was not like those other girls. Hokage's office. Sit, Kakashi, said Tsunade sternly, seeing the Junin do so, and saw he was curious as to being summoned by her. Hokage-sama, why was I summoned? I need to be with Sasuke to help with his therapy and recovery, said Kakashi, seeing the Hokage narrow her eyes at him slightly. Yes, Sasuke. We'll get to the Uchiha later, but first I want to talk to you about certain things that have come to my attention and have been ignored by the Sandaime during his time in this office, said Tsunade, seeing the Junin's eyebrow rise up. What things, Hokage-sama? Said Kakashi, seeing the woman produce a list of things on them, and handed it to the Junin. Read it, Kakashi, and then tell me if what's on that paper is indeed accurate in terms of what you've been doing as Team 7 Sensei, said Tsunade, knowing they were, as the other Junin senseis had basically heard the man confess to a few of them, and didn't seem to care. Now, Kakashi was nervous. Well, yes, but you have to understand, Hokage-sama, that everything I did was given the full approval of the Sandaime, and even the councils on some of these, too, said Kakashi, seeing Tsunade was getting angrier with every second he talked. Even though some things listed on that sheet show the betrayal of the Yondaime's dying wish, his teaching to you, and basically the overall principles of the leaf that the village was founded on, said Tsunade, seeing Kakashi sweating now. Well, you have to admit, given the time I had with them, Sasuke seemed to be a much better candidate for being a shinobi than Naruto. And Sabaku no Gaara isn't someone to be trifled with, said Kakashi, seeing Tsunade slam her palm down on the desk and had caused the surface of it to crack in a spiderweb formation. So as a prodigy from the Hyuga clan, you dumb baka. Naruto needed just as much training as Sasuke did. Maybe even more, considering his education at the academy was deliberately sabotaged. Not to mention the final report you filed about Wave Country doesn't add up to Grey Fox's accounts on the matter, said Tsunade, as she asked for Naruto to give her a detailed description of the events of Wave, and compared it to the report Kakashi had filed. What exactly did he say? Said Kakashi, trying to keep his voice even. Enough that I know that a good chunk of your report is garbage. Sasuke shows amazing potential in protecting the bridge builder, as he was able to plan out a strategy to free me from the water prison, Jutsu Momochi. Zabuza had placed me in, and showed the potential behind his birthright. Those were your exact words in the report. From what Grey Fox told me, it was he, and not the Uchiha responsible for setting you free, said Tsunade as she glared heavily at Kakashi, and saw what little of his face go pale for a second before returning back to normal. Surely you don't believe a once Genin-level shinobi over a Junin like myself, said Kakashi, hoping the woman would reconsider believing the blonde's recounting of such events. Do you think I am a fool, Kakashi? I should hope not. You see, I sent a message to the client Tazuna, asking for his version of things, and he told me how reckless you were on the mission. He told me how you got caught in the water prison jutsu, how Zabuza was going to complete his mission, and how Grey Fox fought back in the end with the blonde Geiki coming up with the plan to set you free. I asked him for every single detail, Kakashi, and I know for a fact what is in your report is fake, said Tsunade, seeing the man trying to think of some way to get around this. The client is lying. He's only saying these things because Naruto apparently saved his family from Gato's thugs, said Kakashi, only for the angry look on Tsunade's face to become almost demonic. They named a bridge after him, you baka. Not only did Tazuna send me a word-for-word description of what happened with him while traveling with your team, as well as what of the fighting he saw on the bridge, but the man's daughter and grandson both expressed their sincerest wishes to Gray Fox for saving them from Gato's men, along with inspiring them to rise up against the late businessman. Hell, it was because of Naruto that Zabuza used the last bit of his life to kill Gato and avenge the boy Haku. Not Uchiha Sasuke, said Tsunade, seeing Kakashi was trembling slightly under her words. I'm standing by my report on the mission, and so do the councils. I will not change it for anyone, said Kakashi, at last seeing Tsunade's eyes, narrowing dangerously. If that is your current standing, then I will have to seek a proper punishment for you, and the Uchiha for his actions that my predecessor left unchallenged. A punishment which I think will involve you being banned from teaching Sasuke for a whole year, and banning any kind of involvement in the Chunin exams for the next 3 years, said Tsunade, seeing Kakashi, looking at her in horror. But why you can't? I was assured by the Sandaime and the councils that Sasuke would be allowed to advance in the ranks up to Chunin after the exams, said Kakashi, seeing Tsunade now a heartbeat away from punching him down every floor below him, down to the tower's foundation. That deal is nullified. I don't care what the Sandaime or the councils promised. The boy is clearly unstable on account of his needless desire for revenge against Itachi, and the fact the entire village spoils him like he was the Yondaime's son. Ironic that the man's actual child was neglected by you, Hatake, given your own connection to the Yondaime, said Tsunade, seeing Kakashi narrow his eye in anger at the mentioning of Naruto. With all due respect, Hokage-sama, I hardly believe that boy is worthy of being called the Yondaime's son. And while we're on the subject, I am still waiting to hear any word on his punishment for nearly crippling Sasuke during the start of the Allied invasion against us, said Kakashi, with the memory of Sasuke getting his arm at the elbow getting cut off. Gray Fox is not going to be punished for his actions, Kakashi. Besides, even if I wanted to, the mercenary contract written up gives him full pardon of all actions against the Leaf, and I will not have you making things difficult because of your deep hate-filled grudge against the Kyuubi inside of him, said Tsunade, seeing Kakashi's fists slightly tighten at the news. That boy is Kyuubi. I don't care if his genetics say otherwise. That thing lost the right to be Sensei's son the moment Kyuubi was sealed of him, and everyone in Konoha knows it, said Kakashi, standing up, only for his body to go flying out of building thanks to the punch Tsunade had hit him with, and soon crashed into a rundown building that soon collapsed on itself due to the impact. Namikaze Estate's personal training ground. Naruto had made over 100 shadow clones of himself, which he soon divided up into different groups, and had them training while he himself was looking over a scroll on the Rasengan. His father had first designed it to one day be combined with the elements themselves, which upon fully being completed would be a devastating S-rank jutsu, and make anyone facing such power to cower in fear. Hey Gaki, can I sit with you? Said Jiraiya, giving the boy his most charming smile. The blonde could have sworn it made some flowers die. Depends. Are you actually going to spend your time here being useful? Or are you here merely to waste my time? Said Naruto, not looking at Jiraiya, and just kept looking at the scroll to understand the jutsu better. Of course. I was doing some soul searching, and it occurred to me that you should also learn how to summon toads like your old man did. Being the holder of said contract for them, I can have you sign it, and then summon them for battle, said Jiraiya, seeing the blue eye Naruto was showing, looking at him now. Wait, wasn't the eye patch on his other eye just yesterday? Something you should have done from the start, my so-called godfather, said Naruto, seeing Jiraiya frown. I had orders from the Sandan. Sometimes we have to do what is asked of us, even if it means going against what we want and don't want to do, said Jiraiya, seeing Naruto just scoff at him. Is that the best excuse you could come up with, that you were following orders? We both know that's a lie, Jiraiya. You say you care about me, But at the same time, you had no problem with the secret orders to seal away my power when we left to find Sinead, and no doubt would have tried had Anko-san not been there to keep an eye on you. Do not think for 1 second I am going to be fooled by your so-called hand of friendship, and just forgive you for your lack of positive involvement in my life," said Naruto, as he saw Jiraiya frown further at his words, and it was clear the Sannin didn't take too kindly to them. "I believed and still do believe you have the potential to destroy the way of the shinobi, if the prophecy is in fact true. That means the way of life for every village, which includes Konoha, and I wasn't about to see the leaf destroyed. The Sandaime believed you had to be contained, controlled, and I agreed that to ensure the prophecy didn't destroy the leaf that certain measures had to be taken," said Jiraiya, seeing the boy narrow his eye at him. "By measures, you mean having the villagers beat me, stab me, sell me rotten food at huge prices, and try to make me submissive to their whims along with the Hokage's false sense of protection in order to stay loyal. You'll have to forgive me if I don't thank you for those measures being implemented for my own good," said Naruto sarcastically, as he saw Jiraiya was getting angrier, and it was making the blonde's day most enjoyable. "You still don't get it. I would have thought the son of the Yondaime would understand what was done to him was for the good of the village," said Jiraiya before seeing Naruto stop in his reading of the scroll in front of him, slowly closed it, and turned a cold blue eye right at the Sannin with a surge of killer intent behind it. "What I understand is you went against my father's dying wish with your plan. What I understand is you, along with the Sandaime, tried to control me using the little scheme concocted while I was barely a day old. What I understand is you chose to lie to the one person that would have raised me in this village with love and deprived her of 12 years' worth of being a mother, if only by surrogacy. My question to you, Jiraiya-san, why should I spare you any kind of mercy, or even show forgiveness when you yourself do not wish to show those you hurt any in return?" said Naruto, seeing Jiraiya looking away, though whether it was from guilt or anger over his words the blonde could pinpoint. "It comes with the job of being a shinobi, kid. I hurt Tsunade. I know that. Would I do it again in a heartbeat to keep the village safe? Absolutely. The well-being of the village comes first, and if it means I have to betray my own teammate for the bigger picture and the survival of the leaf, then so be it," said Jiraiya, seeing Naruto shake his head before the blonde laughed. "That's funny. You sounded just Orochimaru right then and there," said Naruto, seeing Jiraiya eyes blazing with anger. "Don't you dare compare that man to me," said Jiraiya, standing up now and glaring at Naruto with anger no longer hiding behind his eyes. "Why, you two so similar when comes manipulation and betrayal. Orochimaru fled because he betrayed the leaf and the Sandaime. You betrayed my father, Tsunade, and myself. You both use people. Aren't afraid of betraying those around you for the bigger picture, as you called it. Should I continue?" "Please do tell me, because I can," said Naruto, with Jiraiya going red in the face, before the Sannin left to prevent a battle from possibly occurring. "He hates being wrong," said Big Boss while inside Naruto's head. "That and the pervert knows he's wrong deep down inside. The problem is Jiraiya simply won't admit it to himself, because then the flood of guilt comes and his pride won't let that happen," thought Naruto while going back to understanding the Rasengan. Hokage Tower 2 weeks later. "You requested me for a mission?" said Naruto, seeing the Hokage nod, and ordered the client be sent in. "This is Azama Sandayu, who is the manager of the famous actress, Fujikazu Yuki, and need you along with Genin teams 8 and 9 to protect her from harm while she shoots her newest movie, while they head to Snow Country," said Tsunade, seeing Naruto nod, and accepted the mission given. "When can I be expected to leave?" said Naruto, knowing there was a matter of preparing for this mission. "Tomorrow morning. You will travel to a ship at the eastern port of Fire Country for a ship that is being used for the movie when they are filming at sea. The others Genin teams have already been informed earlier and are getting ready right now," said Tsunade, seeing Naruto nod, and left without another word. "I'll have to help you train for the snow-based environment within your mindscape after you are done packing, and then later when sleeping," said Frank with Ocelot nodding in agreement, since they were no stranger to extremely cold places that could test even the most battle-hardened soldier. Looking forward to it, thought Naruto, smirking at the challenge presented towards him, and headed home to prepare. "Oh, Foxy-kun," said Anko, tackling him from behind and snuggling against his cheek with a grin on her face. "Hello, Anko-chan? How is everything?" said Naruto while ignoring her use of that name for him. "Very good. That red-haired girl Tayuya sang like a canary, giving us different locations, names of people she knows we're helping Orochimaru, and has basically been giving us all the dirt we need to bury what my late bastard of a sensei created," said Anko while keeping out the little fact she, along with Ibiki, got a big bonus when presenting this info to the Hokage. "And let me guess, you want to cash in that date I promised?" said Naruto, seeing her grin, that ever-happy grin, like the Dango shop was giving away free Dango. "Yep," said Anko simply. "As much as I would like to, Anko-chan, you caught me at a bad time, and I have to get ready for a mission tomorrow morning. Perhaps when I get back," said Naruto, seeing the woman pout, as she clearly wanted that date, and checking his one eye to see if he was lying before nodding. "The day you get back, and not a minute later," said Anko before poking his chest, which she felt a lot of muscle, and blushed at the feel of it. "Agreed. After I make an official report to the Hokage, of course," said Naruto, seeing Anko give him a playful frown. "Fine. Just remember to bring a lot of cash because you're paying for it," said Anko with a devious smile on her face. "Within reason. You pig out in an attempt to bleed me dry and we split the check," said Naruto, seeing the special Junin snap her fingers before kissing him on the cheek. "I like you, Foxy-kun. A take-no-crap kind of guy while making sure the woman doesn't take too much from you. I can't wait for our date when you come back," said Anko before she went skipping along while humming a tune. "Did any of you have women act crazy around you like that?" thought Naruto to Big Boss, Ocelot, Frank, and to a certain extent QB. "Define crazy. Define crazy," said Big Boss, Ocelot, Frank, and QB with Naruto just looking at them with a deadpan appearance on his face. Never mind, thought Naruto before heading home to prepare for his mission. Chapter 4. Cold Fury. Naruto stood on the large tanker-class ship the director had acquired for the trip to Snow Country, as the mercenary watched the woman he and the other Leaf Shinobi with him were hired to protect. The woman, a one Fujikaze Yuki, was currently doing a scene on the ship for the movie she was starring in, and with the decrease in temperature, it was clear to Naruto they were getting closer to Snow Country. "Did I ever tell you how I hate the freezing cold? Training or not," thought Naruto to the others in his head. "Several times, actually. You should have seen Vulcan Raven in the Alaska wilderness. The man could walk into a blizzard with no shirt on and come back to the Shadow Moses base like it was an everyday occurrence," said Ocelot, laughing at how so many troops and military personnel transferred to the base were surprised to see the man without a shirt in the freezing temperature-filled land. "No amount of training for this is going to prepare me for the cold, is it?" thought Naruto, seeing Ocelot shake his head no. "The only true training for the elements is hands-on training," said Ocelot, knowing that while Naruto had been trained within his mind's own environment, it would only help set the groundwork for the actual environment outside his head. "You look troubled," said Shino, seeing Naruto staring out at the sea with what looked like a block of ice from an iceberg off in the far distance. "I'm always troubled when it comes to high-profile missions. To not be troubled with the different variables that can spring up from such a mission means you are not doing your job. What about you? How are your bugs in the decreasing temperature?" "I imagine they are less than pleased," said Naruto, turning to see Shino nod. "They are not happy, but they can endure it for now, and maybe even learn to adapt," said Shino, knowing that it could be beneficial to have such insects immune to the freezing cold in the long run. "You're learning well. Insects are a lot like humans. They know what it means to survive almost any kind of environment and adapt to their surroundings. They give up a piece of themselves, but gain something new, and become stronger for it, said Naruto, turning slightly to look at Shino, who nodded in agreement, and watched what he was watching. What do you think of Yuki-san? Said Shino, seeing Naruto shrug slightly. I don't think about her at all. I know only what I need to know. She can act, meaning she can deceive, and it's clear she is hiding something behind her facade of a tired actress. Be mindful when we get to Snow Country. Make sure the others know, said Naruto, seeing Shino nod slightly. You suspect our enemies are waiting for us there, said Shino simply, with Naruto letting a small smirk appear across his face. What better way to be defeated by our enemies than on very terrain they will have the advantage in, and we do not. Our enemies are preparing for us in a place where they will know every spot we could arrive, land, and travel once entering the country. We wouldn't have been hired for this unless there was someone here wanting the woman captured to be held prisoner or just killed. The advantage will not be ours should we be attacked upon our arrival, said Naruto, seeing Shino nod again in agreement. Do you have a plan? Perhaps we can discuss it as a group later before we arrive at our destination, said Shino, seeing Naruto shake his head no. Sadly, I do not have a plan, and can only offer advice on how to lessen our disadvantage in this situation. When we get closer to Snow Country, have Hinata-chan use her eyes to scan for multiple chakra signatures, and if she detects any when we get closer to land, said Naruto, seeing the Aburame nod, and then leave to carry out his duty. The only thing worse in being on this ship with Lee and Guy is your depressing way handling the situation we're in, Gray Fox, said Ten, trying to stay warm while walking up behind Naruto. Sorry if I don't sugarcoat it more to your taste, Ten-san. I would think someone who wishes to take the lifestyle of the shinobi seriously would understand and appreciate the seriousness that comes from the truth of my words, said Naruto, with Ten smiling at him. Of course I do, you baka. Though it wouldn't kill you to smile more on this mission. Let your guard down a little while we're on this ship and enjoy things around you that life has to offer, said Ten, seeing Naruto smirk again. Is this your way of asking me out on a date? Said Naruto, seeing Ten blush, and then glare at him. No. Kami, if we weren't on such an important mission, I'd punch you and throw your ass overboard into the freezing water, said Ten before she heard him laugh, and was surprised he did at her words. Sorry. Just picturing you trying to do that is funny to me, said Naruto, seeing the anger in the girl rise, and saw the signs of her about to try. Oh, so you don't think I can, huh? Said Ten before she threw a punch at him, which he caught, and then her leg when she tried to kick him. Oh, I know you can try, but you won't succeed, said Naruto, pushing Ten back, and saw her growl at him. I'm not some weak fangirl. I've trained with weapons and have a taijutsu master for a sensei with his clone, for a teammate. Let's see if you can handle me, said Ten, getting into her fighting stance while Naruto did the same with his own. We really shouldn't be doing this, given the mission we're on, and how important the client is, said Naruto before Ten charged him, while trying to keep him pinned in the narrow space on the side of the ship. What's wrong? Afraid a girl can do what a guy can't and beat the snot out of you, said Ten, trying to land a hit on her opponent during the taunting, but found Naruto to be very calm and collected in his fighting. No. I just don't want you to be unable to fight when the time comes during the mission, said Naruto, in an almost mocking voice like mannerism he learned from Ocelot. And was rewarded with an even angrier Ten, trying to hurt him for his troubles, though it was proving to be more than difficult. The young Kunoichi kept trying for a good 20 long minutes before giving up, as it was clear to her that Naruto was not beatable at this point with her level of skill, and silently swore to one day reach a level where that would not happen. That was impressive. I hope you don't mind if we somehow tried to incorporate all those moves into the movie, said the director, having seen it before ordering one of his crew with the second camera to film the fight the Merc and Leaf Shinobi just had.
Just pay us both a reasonable fee for it and you got yourself a deal, said Naruto, seeing the man nod before throwing him a large roll of money.
Is that enough? Said the director, seeing Naruto weigh it in his hands and calculate the amount. Yeah, it's enough. If you need more, just let me know, but remember it's not cheap, and the others might not agree to it so easily like I have, said Naruto, deciding to give half of this to Tenten. We're nearing our destination. The ship's captain says we have an ETA of about 30-45 minutes before Snow Country is visible, and another 15-20 to land there, said Azuma Sandayu, walking up to Naruto, knowing how the merc wanted to be kept in the loop regarding the arrival into the country. Good. Before that happens, is there anything I should know about Snow Country? Its people, or perhaps the actress you didn't tell our destination to and who she really is, said Naruto, seeing the man grimace slightly. I guess there is no point in hiding from you or the others. Come on. Yuki will be in her room for a while, and we can talk privately with the others, said Azuma, seeing the actress head to her room below the ship, while along with Naruto went to collect the others. Sometime later. So, she's an actual honest-to-goodness princess? A daughter to a daimyo, said Naruto, seeing the man nod after everyone heard him explain everything. Yes. Up until now, I've had to keep Princess Koyuki hidden from her uncle, who wishes to use her father's special treasure to further oppress our homeland, and then start a war with the other neighboring countries. Koyuki is the rightful heir to the throne of Snow Country, but after her uncle killed her father, and being the only witness to the event, it is not in the woman's heart to lead, said Azuma sadly, knowing the woman's father had been a good man, and was planning something to bring the Snow Country to a new age? Does her uncle know who she really is, and that she's on her way here? Said Kurenai, seeing Azuma shake his head no. I have taken steps as her manager to keeping such a thing from happening, but Doto is resourceful, and I wouldn't put it past the man to find a way to learn of it. He's not an idiot by any means, said Azuma, knowing Doto would not let Koyuki go so easily. So what do we do? Said Kiba, though it was clear he was eager to get into a fight. We continue with the mission. We're not in a position to say no anyway, said Naruto, seeing the leaf shinobi around him. Nod. Thank you, said Asama, smiling at the dedication this group had, and felt reassured Koyuki would be protected. A sudden shaking of the ship brought the group out of their musings as they headed to the top of the ship and saw the sudden iceberg that had risen seemingly out of nowhere. The now massive iceberg itself had a trio of individuals all wearing strange armor and wore shinobi headbands to signify their profession in life. They created ice. Are they like Yuhaku? Said Naruto, missing his dear friend and not caring that he spoke out loud. Welcome to Snow Country, or rather, welcome to the waters near Snow Country. I am Roga Nadar, and the leader of this group assigned to extract Princess Koyuki from your graces, said Roga, seeing the two groups of leaf shinobi on guard, while the one with the eye patch just narrowed his blue eye at them. This is unexpected and unwelcome, thought Naruto, growling slightly at the trio. We were going to ambush you when the ship docked, but then we realized it would be so much easier on us to just crush you here at sea and use the water to our advantage, said the pink-haired woman of the group to the left of Roga. You are frauds, said Naruto at them with a cold, icy blue, becoming increasingly angry at the trio of snow shinobi in front of him. What did you say? Said the bulky male to Roga's right. Your ice jutsu. I knew someone who could manipulate it naturally because it was a bloodline limit, and was hated for it back in Mist. You are of no such bloodline. You three are doing it in an unnatural way, using that armor. I find it to be very upsetting, insulting, and it is dishonorable to the one person I could call a friend outside of the leap. If only just for the shortest of time, said Naruto, the image of Haku smiling at him. Using the power of that bloodline to protect was precious, and fight with everything in your very soul. What these three were doing was a perversion of a bloodline dead, with its last user being a pure soul. And it was pissing Naruto off to no end. How sad for you. Let's kill them already, said the pink-haired snow shinobi, grinning at the group. Agreed, said the bulky one before leaping onto the ship. Bring it on, said Naruto, as he drew his HF sword and leaped off the ship high into the air down towards the trio of snow shinobi on the iceberg. Ice style, ice spike jutsu, said Roga as he shot a large spike of ice from the glacier and aimed at the swordsman in midair. Naruto angled himself while in the air to dodge the attack, if just barely, and landed on the ice spike before running down it. The bulky one of the group quickly ran up to meet Naruto halfway, but was kicked away by a living projectile named Lee, who kicked the man in the head and gave Naruto a thumbs-up motion at the same time. Such a weird kid.
Anyway, Naruto kept running at high speed towards Roga, and the pink-haired kunoichi of a snow shinobi tried to intercept him this time. However, a barrage of weapons from Tenten made the woman back away, and out of range of Naruto heading for Roga. As for Roga himself, he was preparing to use another ice jutsu, but soon felt his body's chakra level was not what very high, and realized the Aburame on the boat had secretly sent his bugs to drain him of chakra while distracted by Naruto. Cursing at this turn of events, Roga leapt away at the last moment before Naruto swung his HF sword at him, and with chakra channeled into it had sliced through a large section of the iceberg he was standing on to make it his own little ice-made island.
You underestimated us, Roga-san. Now you will pay for such stupidity with the lives of your comrades. And your own life, said Naruto, while angling his sword at Roga with the Snow Shinobi's partners, engaged the others of Team 8 and 9. Clearly? I assumed the Leaf would send just one team to guard the princess, but not two of them. And whatever the hell you are, said Roga, seeing his bulky teammate Mizore, now being attacked by both Lee and Gay, while 10 along with Yuhi Kurenai were keeping the pink-haired woman Kakuyoku Fubuki at bay. Assumptions. Get you killed, said Naruto before leaping onto Roga's half of the iceberg and prepared to engage the Snow Shinobi in combat. Not this time. Retreat, said Roga as he along with the other leaped away, but Mizore was too battered to escape and was captured before being brought back to the ship where the others regrouped. You guys caught a big fish, said Naruto, seeing the bruised man with a broken arm now tied up, and his armor looking like it had seen better days. Bite me free. Once my teammates capture the princess, we'll see who is laughing, said Mizore before spitting at their feet. He must be mistaken. We're guarding an actress. Not a princess, said Lee frowning, while Naruto did the same. Not everything is what we think it is on the surface, Lee. I think we need to know more, and this cocky fool is going to tell us what we want to know, said Naruto, picking the man up easily from his tied-up position on the ground. Fat chance. I'll die before I talk, said Mizore before crying out in pain when Naruto struck his injured arm. Doesn't bother me. Now, let's have private chat, said Naruto as he dragged the man to someplace deep within the ship and began his information gathering in regards to what the three Snow Shinobi were after. It took the crew's willpower not to puke over the railings while Mizore's screams echoed throughout the ship. It's a good thing Anko isn't here. She'd be finding a way to molest Naruto after he was done with our prisoner, thought Kurenai, as she heard more screams of agony and could not help and wonder just who had taught the boy the deadly arts I were known for. Everyone from both teams, their senseis, the client, and the actress were hired to protect. Meet me in the lounge area. Immediately, said Naruto's voice over the intercom system of the ship. Something big must have happened, said Tenten, seeing the others nod, and entered the shared lounge area that connected to the corridors leading to their rooms. It did. Our actress Fujikaze Yuki isn't the woman we were told she was, said Naruto. His hands and feet were stained in blood. Mizore's blood. What? Who is she then? Said Neji, seeing the woman and her manager looking a bit nervous. She's actually the daughter of the late daimyo of Snow Country, heir to the throne and princess of Snow Country, with her real name being Kazuhana Koyuki. The one who hired those Snow Shinobi was none other than her not-so-sweet uncle Kazuhana Doto, and Fai killed his own brother for something buried in the country itself. Buried deep within the snow, said Naruto, as he saw the woman look away from everyone, and her manager Asama Sandayu looking guilty at keeping this from them. It's true, I'm afraid. All of it. Ever since the assassination with Dodo taking over, I've done everything in my power to keep the princess from meeting the same end, and smuggle her out of Snow Country. It wasn't easy, but I was able to use a few of my friends, who are in the movie-making industry, to turn the princess into an entirely different person. A new identity to ensure Koyuki's survival under the name of Fujikaze Yuki, said Sandayu, seeing Koyuki fall down into the nearby couch. What was the overall plan, though? Aside from her survival, I mean, said Kurenai, as she saw the elderly man smile and look out at the nearby window. You see, for all its cold, harsh weather, was a place of technological advancement like no other within the elemental countries, and our beloved daimyo only wished to expand it by finding a way to bring the season of spring to our country. Dodo wants to use what his brother was making into a weapon, but even if the man found it, in order to make the machine work, he needs something in the princess's possession, and that the something is the key. A key the princess has in her possession, said Sandayu, as he pointed to the pink jewel currently wrapped around Koyuki's neck. And the woman held it up in her hand. This, said Koyuki, as she saw Sandayu nod, and saw Naruto eyeing the jewel too with an intense look in his one blue eye. It's the key to the very machine Dodo wants to activate while thinking it's a weapon he can use to rule over Snow Country, and possibly the world too, said Sandayu, seeing the Koyuki rip off the necklace and throw it across the room, with Hinata catching it before placing it in Naruto's hands. From what you speak of her late father, I doubt this machine is something used for war, and more towards your belief it was used to bring spring to this country, said Naruto, before Koyuki's hollow chuckle came, and turned to face her while he pocketed the pink item. Spring cannot be brought to this country. It's a cold, cruel place to live, and you're all about to know it firsthand, along with all the suffering this place has to offer. Suffering you know nothing about, said Koyuki, glaring at them all, but was quickly ended by a backhanded strike by Naruto, who then picked the woman up by the neck and hoisted the princess to her feet. I want to talk about suffering. My life is the definition of suffering, lady. You can look the definition of suffering up in a dictionary, and my face is right there for all to see. I was hated, beaten, persecuted, and basically manipulated for most of my life by the very person I once looked up to like a grandfather. Your life was easy compared to mine, so don't think for one moment the suffering you've endured can compete with mine. Right now, there is a whole country of people waiting for you to return and free them from their oppressor. Your uncle, are you going to stand up on your own 2 feet? Or are you going to just wallow in pity, waiting for the end while on your knees, and begging for it all to be over? As for me, I'm not much for begging, and never will, no matter what happens to me. So stay here, bitch, moan, complain, and wail in despair, like one of those other kinds of tragic princesses. I don't care anymore. My only objective from here on out is killing that bastard of an uncle of yours and any who would follow him, said Naruto, throwing the shocked woman down on the couch before walking out of the room with Hinata chasing after him. Ray Fox-kun, wait, said Hinata, as she saw him stop walking down the corridor and look back at her before she caught up. Sorry you had to see that, Hinata-chan. It's just, that's the second person I've met who claims to have suffered and created their own pity party. I'm tired of such parties. What she needs is a good kick in the ass for a wake-up to reality, said Naruto, banging his fist against the wall of the ship and the dent to it being visible. It's okay. I know your life has been hard, Gray Fox, as I have seen it with my own eyes, and you are right about Princess Koyuki needing to wake up to reality, said Hinata, as she saw him smirk and turned to face her fully now. With you to help me, should I get out of line, I take it, said Naruto, seeing her smile and nod in agreement, since he did go overboard on some things.
Of course. After all you have done for me, it is the least I could do, and will do should you require my help, said Hinata, as she had come a long way since her spar with Naruto, and then later learning to control her timid nature when around him.
Thank you, Hinata-chan. Now, let's go help the ship's captain on the bridge and redirect our landing zone into Snow Country, said Naruto, seeing Hinata gnawing her eyes would help in scouting for the snow shinobi they encountered earlier in Snow Country. You failed me. How could you fail, Roga? I received advanced warning from a reliable source telling me the where, when, and how my niece would arrive. I had you strike first, knowing you had the element of surprise. And yet you still failed me. Explain, said Dodo, seeing Roga and his teammate tremble in fear. We did have the element of surprise, but we were unable to secure the princess because the number of Leaf Shinobi guarding her. And then there was this one shinobi among them, who was completely different. I've never seen anything like him, said Roga, seeing the man on his throne scowling at him, and knew Dodo didn't like excuses. The man didn't like anything. I don't care if one of the tailed beasts came at you. I expect you to do your job no matter what. Now I have to take matters into my own hand. Go back out there and find them, Roga. Bring back the princess, or you will wish a tailed beast was here, said Dodo, seeing the two snow shinobi bow, and then leave. When the two shinobi left, Dodo himself scowled further, as he was not pleased by this situation, and hated how the assured victory he believed was within his grasp was being taken away before taking it. He had been warned by an anonymous source, who had not given him a face, but Dodo knew the person was from within the leaf, stating the princess was going to be on the ship to head home, and that for some backing in the future would they provide assistance in capturing Koyuki. Dodo was given daytime, and who would be on the ship protecting his niece while escorting her to Snow Country, so the advantage was in his favor. So why had his forces been defeated by such a meager force? The opposition was a group of Leaf Shinobi, but Roga hadn't expressed fear in them, and more along the lines that of a single figure among them. Someone from the Leaf, but different all the same, and had the skills needed to stop Dodo from achieving his ambition. Of course, Dodo knew the source of his info wasn't doing this, as he knew how Shinobi took missions to protect clients while sometimes taking secret orders from the opposition to slay, or capture the one they're protecting for more money. It wasn't personal, it was just good business. Still, Dodo wasn't the ruler of this country by simply letting things go to chance, and only did when he knew the fix was in his own favor. Dodo's thoughts on the matter shifted, however, when a bird flew suddenly into the room and dropped a message onto his table before flying away out the window. Opening it up, the man read the message carefully before his eyes narrowed, and crushed the paper up in his hands at the information written on the parchment by his mysterious benefactor. Throwing the paper down onto his desk, Dodo summoned his loyal forces, as he had preparations to make, and deal with the information written on the paper. With Naruto a few days later. Damn. It's cold here, said Naruto, realizing it was even colder when they landed than when sailing here on the ship. Can't argue with you there, said Kurenai, as she looked at the surrounding area they landed in, and like him hated the feel of the bitter cold nipping at her skin like it was his own, regardless of the heavy clothing they wore to combat it. What do you see, Neji? Said Tenten, seeing him scanning the area with the Baikugan. Mostly snow, trees, and mountains with little else in sight, said Neji, with Hinata also confirming what he saw with her own eyes. The capital of Snow Country is much farther than before due to our change in course, but this leads us to the secret resistance group that's been building against Dodo, and we can meet up with them before heading there, said Sandayu, pointing to the destination they were heading. Good. With their help, we can map out some kind of terrain we can cross, said Naruto, seeing the man nod, knowing the resistance had such information, since they knew more about the area than most. This way, said Sandayu with Naruto. Team 8, Team 9, their senseis, Koyuki, and the film crew followed him to their destination, only to find the camp where the anti-Dodo forces had been slaughtered not that long ago. Oh man, said Kiba, seeing the destruction of the camp and the bodies lying around, while Hinata focused on not fainting at the sight of so much death. Not that anyone would blame her if she did. How could this have happened? Said Sandayu, seeing the entire division he had been able to bring together now crushed like an insect. This happened not that long ago. The smoke is still rising from the ashes. Very recent by the looks of it. I'd say this occurred roughly yesterday morning when everyone here was asleep, said Naruto, looking around, before kneeling and examining a pile of smoking ash he was rubbing against his armored fingertips. How did Dodo know about this place? No one knew where they would be, except myself, and not even the snow shinobi from before could have taken them all out, said Sandayu, knowing that without the army they were back to square one. Dodo must have had help. Someone from behind the scenes who told him of this area and was given something in return, said Guy, seeing the destruction of the area around him with disgust. But what? Said Sandayu, not understanding the situation fully. A favor in return, most likely. Future support for services rendered. Power of some kind. Take your pick, said Naruto, feeling his right hand twitch for his sword. You're feeling it too, said Tenten, as she felt her hand twitching for her weapons. And get ready for a fight. Yeah. What did this either hasn't left yet or those snow shinobi are back, said Naruto, looking around for the foe hiding in the snowy terrain. Or both, said Lee, knowing that was another possibility. That too. Stay defensive and protect the princess, said Naruto, hearing a rumbling sound of something coming towards them, and could hear the gasp from the 3 legendary soldiers inside his head. No. And what It couldn't be, said Big Boss, as he hoped that such a monster would stay buried in the past, and not rise up to ruin this world again. But it was... What is that? Said Koyuki, seeing the monstrous metal thing before them looking almost alive. Metal Gear. A war machine from the ancient world, said Naruto, drawing his HF sword, while Ocelot told him it was the Gecko model of Metal Gear, but clearly saw that this one was modified to fire arrows and stabbing projectiles using the lack of sophisticated form of technology this world possessed. How do you even know what that is, Gray Fox-san? Said Tenten, seeing the walking 2-legged behemoth headed their way. Because I have inside information. Scatter, said Naruto, leaping away as the Metal Gear launched projectiles at him, and the others with the Genin teams moving to save the movie crew. Guy quickly grabbed Koyuki as Kurenai grabbing Sandayu, and got them to safety away from the monstrosity that was the gecko. Naruto quickly deflected several projectiles with his HF sword before several more popped up around him, looking at the young mercenary with their tri-red eyes and focusing entirely on his form. Why? Naruto had no idea. We have to help him, said Hinata, seeing Naruto dodging and slicing through the legs or hip region of the Metal Gears while trying not to get hit. We can't. Whatever these things are can only be stopped by Gray Fox, said Kurenai, seeing her student wanting to rush in, and had to grab the girl by the shoulder to prevent it. But, said Hinata, seeing Kurenai shake her head no. Your sensei is right. Our mission is to protect the princess from harm. Gray Fox is doing his part and we will do the same, said Guy, seeing the others nod in agreement. It doesn't matter what you do. You're still doomed, said Roga as he leaped from his position on the cliff behind them and moved to snatch the princess, only to be blocked by both Hinata and Neji. Roga's pink-haired teammate Kakuyaku Fubuki tried to flank them, but Guy along with Lee Leap kicked her into the cliff and caused snow to avalanche onto her body. Roga encased the 2 Hyuga in an ice dome before rushing to grab the princess and ran off with his prize. Damn it, said Naruto, as he finished off the last crew, Metal Gear Gecko knockoff, and rushed after Roga. Gray Fox, wait. Tenten, Shino. Go after him, said Kurenai, seeing the 2 nod while Kiba and Akamaru were digging a hole under the ice dome to get the 2 Hyuga out of it. We have the snow shinobi here contained, said Lee, having removed the kunoichi from the snow and tied up while giving his good guy pose. I need a vacation, thought Kurenai, as she wanted one so badly right now, and wondered if it would be cruel to temporarily hand over her team to Anko. Possibly. Maybe. Yeah, it would. Damn! With Naruto. Hey! Come back here, you bastard, said Naruto, seeing the man heading higher up in the terrain, where the clouds above were thick. Thick enough to hide something. Sticks and stone, my boy. Sticks and stones, said Roga mockingly, as he leaped into the air and grabbed a feeble ladder that connected up into the clouds where an airship was waiting him. Not bad. Looks like there are some things in this new world that are marginally better than ours, said Ocelot, seeing Big Boss agree. Not bad, said Big Boss, clearly impressed. Gush over it later, I have a princess to save. Man, I feel like I'm in one of those cheesy romance novels when the noble knight saves the princess and they fall in love at the end, thought Naruto, climbing the ladder after jumping up to grab it with a little help in using shadow clones, leaving Tenten and Shino on the ground. Damn it. When he gets back down here, I'm so kicking his ass and make him beg for mercy, said Tenten with righteous fury in her eyes, with Shino raising an eyebrow at her. Was it him, or was Tenten's anger a way to mask her worry for Gray Fox?
Climbing all the way up the ladder, Naruto headed towards the bridge, knowing that was where someone like Dodo and the princess would be, since it was a position of power when it came to ships like these. Making his way through the corridors, the Namikaze heard echoed voices coming from across the way, and recognized the female voice to be Koyuki's.
They were arguing. How could you, uncle? Your own brother. My father. All for what? Answer me, said Koyuki angrily, as Naruto saw through a small opening of the door to the bridge, with Roga holding the woman back. Power. It's always been about power. Your weak father spent so much time focusing on helping his country. He didn't realize that the lost advanced technology our country has could allow us to rule the world, or expand our domain even further. I decided to do what he didn't have the courage to do, and use this country's power as it was intended for. You already saw the lost machines of war I recovered and modified to wipe out the resistance forces. Once I'm done activating your father's machine, I'll have the power to make many more like them, and crush any opposition that stands in my way, said Dodo, seeing the horror-filled look on her face, and smiled at the sight of it. You bastard! How did you even know about the location of the encampment? No one knew about it except Sendayu, and I know he would never betray them to you, said Koyuki, struggling some more. Some outside help, ironically, from the Leaf told me. I don't know who exactly, but I know they didn't want this mission to succeed, or you to live past today for that matter, said Dodo, seeing his niece glaring at him. You lie, said Koyuki, seeing Dodo smirking at her. Why would I do that, my foolish niece? Though given your life growing up after your father's death since becoming an actress, I'm not really surprised. You've lived in such a pampered lifestyle of hotels, celebrities, and influential people responsible for financing your movies, never knowing of the true darkness, pain, and horror the world outside of yours truly entails, outside of losing your father when you were just a child. Shinobi are trained to lie, deceive, and betray even their own clients if another comes along with a lot more money to do the opposite of the current mission, said Dodo, grinning at the princess, glaring further with denial still in her eyes. Which is why a mercenary was hired into the fold, said Naruto, kicking down the door and turning the heads of the people in the room to look at him. You, said Roga, seeing the grinning face of Naruto looking at them. It feels so good to be acknowledged, said Naruto, walking into the room while his eye behind the patch did its thing. I see you're the one Roga fears, said Dodo, not seeing why, and yet felt this boy was indeed strong. As you should too. I've come for your heads, said Naruto, drawing his HF sword and looked ready to charge forward. Try anything and she dies, said Dodo, pointing to his niece. You kill your own niece. Your blood, said Naruto, seeing Dodo grin. Of course. It was so easy to kill my brother. Killing her would be no less difficult, said Dodo, seeing Naruto lower his weapon. Now what? Said Naruto, seeing Dodo grin. Drop your weapon, said Dodo simply. Let her go, said Naruto, looking at Koyuki with calculating eyes. You know I can't do that, said Dodo, still smirking. You could actually, but it's not in your nature to give in to others, and the fact you're just a team doesn't help you either, said Naruto before throwing his HF sword at Dodo, who knocked it away behind Roga and scowled at him. Stupid fool. Kill Koyuki, said Dodo, but saw the HF sword he knocked away was really the boy in a henge, and the one throwing him was really a shadow clone, with the real one bouncing off the glass window before kicking Roga in the head with enough force to snap the man's neck. and freeing Koyuki in the process. Still think you can win, said Naruto, drawing his HF sword for real this time, and saw the man was furious with him to no end. I will not be stopped. Not by you, my niece, or the leap. I will rule this world or burn all that I cannot have to the very ground, said Dodo before removing his robes to reveal his chakra armor. Has anyone ever told you that your actions are the sign of a sore loser? Said Naruto in a mocking tone, as he saw Dodo's face go into a rage-filled look that spoke of him being psychotic and was currently aimed at the young mercenary. Die, said Dodo, as he launched a gauntlet hand at Naruto, who just dodged and let the heavily armored appendage hit the control in the bridge to shock the man with a strong amount of electricity. I don't take requests from weaklings like you. I just kill them, said Naruto, stabbing the man in the back, and channeled Kyuubi's chakra into it to make sure the pain was much more than it would be without it.
No, yelled Dodo, as he felt his life literally being burned away, and could have sworn he saw the devil grinning at the soul about to be received into hell. With the burned corpse of Dodo now on the ground, Naruto focused on the control system meant to keep the airship in the air, and realized this thing was tilting now with the view of very large mountains coming their way. Realizing they had little time to get out of the airship before they got blown to hell, Naruto put away his sword, and quickly grabbed the still-down princess before carrying her bridal style to the nearest exit.
Would this be a bad time to ask if you're afraid of heights and falling from them? Said Naruto, seeing Koyuki look down over the railing, and then back at him with a glare. No. Don't you dare, said Koyuki, as she screamed the rest of the way when Naruto jumped off the airship, and a couple hundred shadow clones behind him made a living rope to stop them from falling harshly on the cold, snowy ground below before they stopped falling halfway down. Gotcha, said Naruto, grinning at a frightened Koyuki, who growled at him and was less than an inch from his face. If we weren't still so high up, I'd punch you in the face and kick you between the legs, said Koyuki, seeing Naruto raise an eyebrow at her. Well, then you're really going to hate this next part of our descent to the ground, said Naruto before his shadow clones went poof, and they continued falling with Koyuki screaming in fear. Before Naruto flipped back and landed on his feet with a loud thud that made a large crater on the ground with Koyuki completely unharmed. Putting the shaking woman on her feet, Naruto fell on his butt, and let the pain he felt in his legs slowly leave him before getting off the ground again, only to be slapped in the face by Koyuki. Baka! You could have gotten us both killed. Do you think you're some kind of immortal or something? Said Koyuki. Seeing her slap didn't have any real effect on him like she thought it would. Immortal? No. I just don't fear death. Something I think your father and I both had in common with each other, said Naruto, grinning at her, as she stiffened at his comment before turning to see the rest of the group, plus Prisoner, appear up on the hill. And we're happy to see they survived. You guys all right? Said Kurenai. Seeing the two looked okay aside from the snow that got on them.
More or less. It is a good thing you're here since the fireworks are about to start, said Naruto, pointing to the airship angling towards the mountains before it crashed and then exploded in great ball of fire.
What happened to Dodo? Said Gay, not seeing him around the area. Went down with his ship? Said Naruto, simply with the group nodding. Doesn't sound like the guy, said Kiba, scratching his head with a frown. That's because I made him after turning his body into a corpse, said Naruto with a look at Kiba, while the Inuzuka finally understood what he was referring to. So the threat to Princess Koyuki is over, said Lee, while he and Guy held on to their pink-haired snow shinobi of a prisoner. Yeah, for the moment anyway. Question now is, will this one be a problem for us and the princess? Said Naruto, pointing to defeated form of Kakuyoku Fubuki, seeing her head bowed in submission with her chakra armor too damaged to use. I'm not a threat anymore. Dodo was my employer. With him dead, I have no reason to fight you or kill the princess, said Fubuki, looking up at the eye patch wearing boy. And what reason do you have that would make us believe those words? Said Naruto, seeing the beaten pink-haired woman again lower her head in submission. I can offer you nothing to prove my words are true, except my honor as a shinobi of Snow Country. Please, show mercy, said Fubuki with her head still down. What do you think? Thought Naruto, wanting the opinion of the four being in his head.
Give her a second chance, said Frank simply.
I agree. Another chance, said Big Boss before he looked at Ocelot. Might as well. Just remember though, if she tries anything, then you can kill her, and be done with it, said Ocelot, knowing if this woman would forfeit her second chance if she tried anything.
I say kill the bitch, but that's me, and my hatred for women with pink hair, said Kyuubi, since it didn't like the Sakura girl back in the village and the pink hair reminded the fox of the girl.
Okay. That's 3 spare her life and 1 biased smear her blood all over the snow to ensure the elimination of the threat, thought Naruto before drawing his HF sword, and saw the woman shiver in fear. He's going to kill me. I know it, thought Fubuki with her eyes closed to wait for the end.
When the sound of the blade descending upon her was heard, Fubuki cringed when she felt the wind of the HF sword, and waited for the pain before death could claim her. For a second, she thought he had cut through her head, and was mere seconds from truly dying. However, Fubuki opened her eyes the moment the bindings that made her their prisoner fell to the ground, and she saw Naruto put away his weapon.
I show trust, Snow Shinobi. A rarity in itself, if you ask anyone from the leap. Do not make me regret showing such a thing, or I will make you beg for my mercy. Mercy. I do not give out a second time, said Naruto before walking away from her before motioning for Koyuki to follow him. Where are we going? Said Koyuki while seeing Naruto walking up a clear path near the mountain. Simple. We're going to activate your father's machine, said Naruto, still walking up without slowing down. What? But my uncle wanted to use that machine as a weapon, said Koyuki before seeing Naruto stop and turn slightly to face her. Do you honestly believe your father would make a massive machine for war and leave you the key to its activation? Said Naruto before continuing his walk towards the device he saw while hanging on by a thread of shadow clones. No. I suppose not, said Koyuki before catching up with him and taking off the jeweled necklace that she knew was the key to activating the machine. Besides, your father wanted to bring the season of spring to Snow Country, and as well all know, the season of spring is a season where life is created. That is what this machine is, princess, said Naruto, as he held out his hand, and Koyuki put the key in it before putting the key in the machine to start it up. And within moment brought the season of spring to Snow Country. It's been a long time since I've seen something as beautiful as this sight before me. It makes you remember your humanity after being on the battlefield for so long, said Big Boss with the others agreeing. Yes. The season of spring soothes even my demonic heart, said QB, as even the fox loved the season. And what it held. Snow Country capital a few days later. Celebrations were in order at the coronation of the new daimyo of Snow Country, now renamed Spring Country, and the guests of honor were the female daimyo's escort from the leaf. Each were given a medal to show proof of their valor and courage in fighting to protect Koyuki from the snow shinobi that threatened her life. Fubuki was appointed the daimyo's personal shinobi bodyguard, while Sandayu continued to be Koyuki's manager for movies and her chief royal advisor on matters of the people. Of course, that wasn't the only thing that happened, which Naruto found out, as the actress had been chosen for the part in Jiraiya's Icha Paradise movie, and only agreed to do it on one condition. That Naruto himself agreed be the leading male role in the movie, as the manly stud, Jiraiya's words in the script, of a male lead, who would be intimate, Naruto's interpretation, with the princess, and eventually marry her before living happily ever after for all time. A cheesy ending to be sure, but that was to be expected from a write of smut, and his way of acquiring inspiration for such things, leaving much to be desired. The question for Naruto now was, would he be a part of the movie? First, he needed the opinion of those Naruto trusted, and asked his 4 guests in his head. The results were less than encouraging. I never did it. Didn't want people thinking I was joke, said Big Boss, knowing he had been offered at one point to play in action movies, and pretend to be what he was, rather than be what he was Rob. Me neither. Then again, I was always meant to keep a low profile, and covert status a very guarded secret, said Ocelot, knowing that he and Big Boss had the faces for films. They just didn't like the idea of doing it.
It's your life, Naruto. These two take their soldier status more seriously, but times are not the same like they were with us, and I don't think anyone will think less of you for being in this film, said Frank, knowing that while an offer was never presented to him for the obvious reasons, it should mean Naruto couldn't try it out and see for himself.
And you, Kyuubi, thought Naruto, seeing the fox grinning. Is the woman going to play the actual part where you and her get it on? Said Kyuubi, curiously while leaning closer to its cage. Yes, said Naruto with a raised eyebrow. Then there's your answer, said Kyuubi, laughing at Naruto's scowling expression. You're not helping, thought Naruto before letting out a sigh. Knowing this could kill any kind of relationship with women back in the Leaf, since there were a select few back in the village that were worthy of his attention. Look, kid. What you do in life is entirely up to you, and neither of us will think any less of you for doing this film. And we certainly won't hold it against you if your decision about this movie is to not do it, said Big Boss with Kyuubi snorting. I will, said Kyuubi, seeing Naruto glaring back. Well, Kyuubi will, but the fox doesn't count, said Big Boss with a smirk. Hey, said Kyuubi, getting a bit peeved at that remark. The question for you now, Naruto, is what you want, and if you will ever regret doing it, said Big Boss, seeing Naruto close his eyes in thought for a moment before opening them. I think I know what to do, thought Naruto before his mental form faded from their sight. He going to do it, said Kyuubi in an all-knowing manner while grinning a grin, which was a mix between an evil and perverted grin. Quiet you, said Ocelot, feeling that making such a movie was not the way to go. Let the fox be Ocelot. This might actually help Naruto get more clients when it comes to being a mercenary. Plus, if this movie does well, he'll get a lot more income and support himself with such financial backing, said Frank, while Ocelot just scoffed at the idea. We'll see. Though I doubt anyone will take him seriously after making this movie, said Ocelot before turning to see Big Boss smirking at the two. That all depends on how good he is in the movie, said Big Boss with Kyuubi letting out a demonic chuckle. And that is where I come into play in teaching the kid. You taught him your ways of being a solider. I will teach him how to be an expert lover, said Kyuubi, seeing the three figures in front of its demonic form. Raise an eyebrow?
How? Said Big Boss curiously.
Before being sealed up for the last couple hundred years into 3 members of the Uzumaki clan, even before Uchiha Madara used his damn Sharingan to make me bow to his whims, I was quite the mon for a vixen to have for such things, and no one here has the years of experience that I do when it comes to bringing untold pleasure to the female form. By the time I'm done teaching the kid, the princess will be begging for more from him. And then some, said Kyuubi, letting out a demonic laugh that echoed throughout Naruto's mind.
Oh yes, life would be getting more interesting for Naruto soon enough. Omake premiere of the Ica Ica Paradise movie.
I can't believe you dragged me here for this, Jiraiya. This movie better have more than just smut in it, or I'm ending your perverse ways before the credits finish, said Tsunade, who was with Shizune, Kurenai, Neko, her Ambu Gai Kakashi, and the other rookies with their senseis in the audience filled with people, mostly perverts. Don't worry, Tsunade. You have my word, it will be magical, said Jiraiya, who was currently sweating inwardly, since he didn't tell Tsunade about Naruto being the male-led, and currently trying to get out of his restraints in his seat, so he couldn't grope the woman during the film's debut. Where's Gray Fox? Said Kurenai, looking around for the mercenary, and noticed Hinata was missing. Anko too. Princess Koyuki has a private booth above us. Anko is Naruto's date. Tayuya is with them since she needs to be watched, and Hinata was allowed to join them because she was on the mission, said Tsunade, seeing the room darken and the movie about to play. That, and being a Hyuga doesn't hurt, said Jiraiya, knowing the girl's clan status also helped. That too, said Tsunade, sensing Jiraiya was hiding something from her, and was more interested in fleeing than groping. Deciding to figure that out later, the female Hawkage focused on the movie, and soon into the smutty film knew why Jiraiya wanted to flee. Her killer intent spiked for a second, but was silenced by witnessing the perverted smut. Her godson was starring in with the now daimyo of Spring Country, and watched the movie from beginning to end down to every last detail burned into her mind. When the line of credits began rolling, showing Naruto's codename across from his lead role's name, the lights slowly turned on, and Jiraiya saw the well beyond angry look on Tsunade's face. Struggling more than ever, Jiraiya quickly tried to think of something that would calm the raging beast rising from her seat, and the genjutsu mistress joining in the need to unleash female fury upon his restrained body for the perverse vision of a smutty book-turned-movie he had created. "Anything to say to me before you die a slow, painful death," said Tsunade, cracking her knuckles, and preparing to unleash untold amounts of pain. Where's Shizune?" said Jiraiya, looking behind Tsunade to see the Hokage's own assistant was not with them.
"Don't expect me to fall for that baka. She's right. Hey, where is Shizune?" said Tsunade while looking around for the woman, only to find she wasn't there along with Tenten, Ino, and Neko.
They soon heard the moaning of pleasure echoing from a private booth above them. Spring Daimyo Koyuki's private booth, to be exact.
Which made Kurenai's face go pale, and faint, knowing she had failed to protect the Hyuga heiress from the wickedness of perverts.
"Yeah, stick me. Give it all you got, Foxy-kun. Yeah. I'm your snake bitch," said Anko's voice echoing from the booth, loud and proud. "Could this get any worse?" said Tsunade, rubbing her temples at the swelling headache. "Where's my sister? And my mom?" said Kiba, realizing they weren't there either. The twin sounds of howling in pleasure from the booth gave Kiba his answer, which followed by the thump sound he made when fainting, and finally the nightmare the Inuzuka had of the female members of his clan being banged by Naruto. "Does that answer your question?" said Jiraiya, though he soon regretted it when his voice got the attention of the Hokage, now even further upset at what his actions caused. "Die, you pervert," said Tsunade in a demonic voice, as she unleashed her fury on a poor defenseless, and tied up Jiraiya with the sounds of his screams of pain making the cries of pleasure from the women in the private booth above. "Lucky bastard," said Shino before leaving to get a refill on his popcorn. Chapter 5. Dead Root. Metal Gear. "What is that?" said Tsunade, reading over Naruto's report and comparing it to the others from the team that assisted Princess Koyuki's return to her country. "It's a weapon that back in its day was considered the most valuable military weapon on the whole planet. Picture the bijou, if not Jinchuriki, but in a mass-produced form, and causing destruction to the enemy by decimating them with minimal damage to the overall troops to your own army," said Naruto, seeing Tsunade's eyes widen in shock at this news. "From your report, the entire rebel army was wiped out by just 2 of these things, and even then you make them sound like they paled in comparison to their predecessors," said Tsunade, as she saw her godson sigh and nod his head. "The ones I fought were shadows of their predecessors. My 3 senseis have seen what Metal Gears can do. 2 were around for the birth of the very first Metal Gear. Dodo found the more advanced models, which were badly damaged, and patched them up with the technology his country is known for, though even the tech in his possession was not enough to properly restore them to their true potential," said Naruto, seeing Tsunade's eyes once again widen at this news. "I don't understand, Naruto. You state this lost technology used in warfare is from a time long before the elemental countries were even made, and before even chakra itself was introduced. How do you have 3 senseis that know what no one else does, Naruto?" said Tsunade, seeing Naruto sigh and didn't complain that she didn't use his code name. "It's complicated, and I don't think you'd believe me," said Naruto, seeing Tsunade raise an eyebrow at him. "Try me," said Tsunade, seeing the blonde think for a second before nodding. "Okay. Just don't freak out," said Naruto before making 3 shadow clones that upon being born had instantly turned into his 3 senseis in front of the Hokage. "It's a pleasure to meet you in person, Hokage-sama," said Big Boss with both Ocelot and Frank Jaeger, nodding. "And you are," said Tsunade, seeing the apparent leader of the 3 standing before her. "I go by many names. You can call me John, Jack, or one of my code names I used back when I was alive," said Big Boss, seeing the woman raise her eyebrow. "Such as," said Tsunade, waiting to hear them. "Snake or Big Boss? Your choice," said Big Boss simply. "Big Boss," said Tsunade with a raised eyebrow at the second code name. Snake for a code name she could understand, but Big Boss. Talk about a big ego. "Before your time, and no, I didn't choose it," said Big Boss with a smirk while trying to keep his eye on her face and not her chest. He still couldn't believe those things were real. "And these 2, said Tsunade, pointing Ocelot and Frank. "I am Shalashaka, also called Revolver Ocelot," said Ocelot, as he did his signature salute of sorts, and with a grin on his face that told Tsunade this man could give Ibiki pointers in his work. "I am Frank Jaeger, once called Null, once called Gray Fox," said Frank simply in a calm voice, though his eyes were almost void of life. "You're using his code name," said Tsunade, looking at Naruto with the boy nodding. "It kind of felt right given my status in being the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki," said Naruto with a smirk on his face. "True," said Tsunade, since it seemed to fit Naruto. "Naruto is also going to one day inherit my title of Big Boss, just as I did from my own predecessor years ago," said John, seeing Tsunade raise an eyebrow at him in surprise. "And how are you going to do that?" said Tsunade curiously. "Top secret information. You don't need to know." "Not yet anyway," said Big Boss simply, while Tsunade just growled. "We'll see about that," thought Tsunade, since she suspected that Naruto would have to do something dangerous to earn the title. In any case, we saw what Naruto did when fighting those Metal Gears, and were very fortunate to find the base of operations Dodo used to repair them. We also found several kinds of blueprints he had in the works to make more of them, but Naruto destroyed the base along with every scrap of paper holding detailed information about those weapons. "Some things are best left buried or forgotten," said Big Boss with Tsunade, nodding, since there were some things best left buried in the past to never resurface. "There is also the matter of how Dodo knew we were coming. He knew the ship landing area, and the very day we were expected to arrive in Snow Country," said Naruto, "as he knew the source of such information was back here in the Leaf, and someone in Konoha had sold him out. Someone from the Leaf informed him of your arrival. The question now is, who?" said Tsunade, knowing there were a handful of people with access to the information regarding this mission. "I know who. But to flush him out, you need to bait him, and I have the perfect trap for you," said Ocelot, grinning with a plan forming in his mind. "How do you know who it is?" said Tsunade, seeing Ocelot just smirk with his arms now crossed in front of him. "Just trust me on this. Summon the councils and clan heads for a meeting. Tell them it's about Gray Fox and him being badly injured," said Ocelot, seeing Tsunade narrowing her eyes at him. "But he's not," said Tsunade before the smirk on Ocelot grew. "But your traitor doesn't know that. Lay it on real thick. Make it sound like our student here is in no real condition to do missions for a while due to suffering from both physical and emotional trauma," said Ocelot, seeing Tsunade lean back in her chair thinking about this plan. "The backstabber will visit Naruto and basically confess to the boy how he orchestrated everything," said Big Boss, seeing Tsunade rub her chin, and agreed to it. "Okay, but don't get your hopes up. If the traitor is who I think you think it is, then he'll no doubt suspect something is up," said Tsunade, seeing them nod. "It's a risk that comes from doing covert missions. Something we know how to do," said Big Boss, knowing this had to be done, or else more missions Naruto took in the future would become compromised. They had to nip this in the bud now. Hokage Tower meeting room sometime later. What is the reason behind this meeting, Hokage-sama? Said Hayashi, having important business with his own clan that couldn't wait for long. I've summoned you here to this meeting regarding our mercenary hire we all know as Gray Fox, who just came back from his mission with Genin Teams 8 and 9 with their senseis in escorting the client to Snow Country, said Sinead, while making her voice sound grim to get everyone to focus on what she had to say. Did something go wrong? My son reported to me the mission was a success, said Chibi with a frown on his face. It was a success, but Gray Fox has just been recently admitted to the hospital due to physical and mental trauma. I learned he suffered while disposing the last of enemy that they faced in Snow Country, said Sinead, seeing everyone look at her with surprise. Why didn't Kiba tell me this? I'll have his ass for not telling me, said Silm growled, knowing Naruto had been good for her son to learn humility during the Chunin exam prelims. And now Kiba was keeping this info from her. They didn't know Sumen-san. Gray Fox was keeping it under control until he got back so it wouldn't spook the others. Right now he's in the hospital resting, and is not cleared for duty until I say so, said Sinead, seeing Danzo's eye narrow slightly. And what is it that caused this to happen, Hokage-sama? Said Danzo, not really buying this story, but went to humor the woman nonetheless, and test the waters of information. As some of you know, Naruto along with the others encountered an old lost weapon of warlord of Snow Country named Kazahana Doto, was intent on rebuilding to one day wage war on the elemental countries. Gray Fox found the factories Doto had set up to one day make more like the ones he found, and other various models before he blew them up. However, the fact such weapons were being made has affected Gray Fox immensely, and I fear his mental state is on a knife's edge, bordering on the psychotic. He's the only one with the knowledge regarding these war machines and feels if such creations were ever to fall into the wrong hands it would be disastrous. I intend for Inoichi here to enter Gray Fox's mind to remove all memories regarding those horrible war machines, said Tsunaade, seeing several people on the council's protest this decision. Why do that? With such weaponry in our hands, we could protect Konoha from Iwa and Kumo should they wish to invade, said a member of the civilian council. Why use such weaponry for protection? It's clear these weapons are made to invade other countries. I say Inoichi extracts the information from the demon brat, and we use it to expand our territory, said Danzo, with the Shinobi Council agreeing with him. Enough! These things will cause an escalation of arms that no one is ready to handle. If we made these things, chances are Kumo or Iwa may find a way to do so too. Pretty soon, every hidden village will build one, and cause untold damage to lands of the elemental countries. I won't do that, and Gray Fox won't either, since it's clear his belief about this technology being too dangerous to use being correct. This meeting is over, said Tsunaade, leaving the room while seeing Danzo's eye narrow slightly in anger and frustration. I must get that information out of the brat, thought Danzo, knowing he would have to move quickly, or else the information would be lost forever. Inwardly, Tsunaade smiled, knowing she had the bait on the hook, and all she needed now was for the fish to go for it. At Konoha's hospital, Naruto was lying on his back, looking sound asleep with a white bedsheet covered most of his form, and waited patiently for the plan to come to fruition. However, the young mercenary's waiting paid off, as sure enough the traitor to Konoha appeared through his door, the sound of his cane clacking on the floor with every other step he took. And Naruto could almost feel the joy this man was hiding. How the mighty have fallen. The mighty Kyuubi now at my mercy, said Danzo, seeing Naruto open his eye lazily before staring back at him. How many times do I have to tell people like you that I'm not the Kyuubi? We're not the same thing, and you know it, said Naruto calmly, though still sounded sleepy to Danzo. You can spin it however you wish, demon. I know the truth. Nothing you can say to the contrary will ever change my mind. I have wanted your power under my command since you were first sealed inside the boy's body, and even before that with that red-haired bitch from Whirlpool, the Yonde married years ago. Now I find out that you discovered an old, yet powerful technological weapon on your mission that could further tip the balance of power in the village's favor, and if acquired could make us more powerful. However, instead of helping make this weapon a part of the leaf to make the village stronger, you want it to be destroyed. And I can't allow that to happen, said Danzo with his face now a scowl while looking at Naruto. You make it sound like I'll just give you the blueprints from what I remembered seeing in the factory areas Dodo had in Snow Country. Factories and blueprints that I destroyed, by the way, said Naruto calmly, while seeing Danzo now smirk at him. There are ways around that particular problem. Your mind possesses the knowledge I need to make the leaf stronger, and I have a Yamanaka under my command to help get what I want, said Danzo, seeing Naruto raise an eyebrow at him. How do you even know about Snow Country? I have a feeling you know more than whatever meeting you just came from with the Hokage, said Naruto with a narrowed eye at Danzo's own. How perceptive of you. I am allowed access to mission reports thanks to my elite rank within Konoha's government and information very few know about, said Danzo, seeing Naruto's eye narrow for a second, and then widen in slight realization. It was you. You tipped the Snow Shinobi off about Princess Yuki. You told them where, when, and what to expect upon our arrival, said Naruto with his eye now narrowing in anger at the man in front of him. Indeed. I wanted you to fail. I wanted the Hokage's trust in you to be shaken. With the teams with you dead, your mission a failure, and being the only survivor, it was going to be so easy for me to have your credibility shattered. Your remaining friends would even abandon or keep an eye on you. They would question whether or not you had a hand in their death and the failure of the mission. The seeds of doubt would take root and your contract with the Hokage would be cancelled. With your support in the village ruined, I could easily have my root forces swoop in and take you back to my underground bases where you'd be properly conditioned to be my personal weapon. Of course, that plan has not changed since your current weakened condition makes this all the more easier for me to bend you to my will, said Danzo with a sense of arrogance in his voice. I doubt it. I won't be fooled twice by some Sandame Hokage carbon copy. I won't serve someone like you, said Naruto, seeing Danzo look a bit angry at his choice of words before removing the bandage over his eye to reveal a Sharingan. That's where you're wrong. With this eye, courtesy of the unwilling Uchiha clan, you will bow to my will and help me usurp that Senju bitch of a Hokage so I can take my rightful place on the seat of power, said Danzo, while using the Sharingan eye on the boy to plant the strong hypnotic suggestion for the Kyuubi Jinchuriki to serve him loyally without question. Is that what I am, Danzo Timi? A Senju bitch? Perhaps you'd like to add more words to the list of things you think I am before I kick your ass, said Tsunade, appearing with Shizune behind Danzo, who turned his head to basically show the woman his Sharingan eye. You're too late, Hokage-sama. Now the demon works for me. Get up, Kyuubi, and kill the Senju, said Danzo before turning to see Naruto rise up from the bed and stand ready to fight. You're under arrest, Danzo. Even now, your root forces are being subdued and will be questioned by Ibiki once your seal under their tongues are removed, said Tsunade, seeing Danzo scowl at her and turn to once again command Naruto to attack. Only for Naruto to thrust his HF sword right through his skull underneath the jawline. H-O-W, said Danzo with what little of his brain still working. Isn't it obvious, Danzo Timi? I'm immune to your pathetic Sharingan eye thanks to my own dojutsu. You should never tip your hand early in a card game. You're only going to lose because of it, said Naruto, pulling his weapon out of Danzo before slicing the man's head clean off his body. Well, there goes the point of a trial, said Tsunade, seeing the man was now dead. He has allies. No one in his position, no matter how good Danzo may think he is, could last as long unless he had allies to back him up and provide support when required. I'd do some digging into the Shinobi Council since they seem to favor him quite a bit from what I understand of the politics you're now going through, said Naruto, seeing Tsunade nod her head in agreement. Not to mention some of the members of clans like the Yamanaka clan for one, if what I overheard was any indication, said Tsunade with Naruto nodding in agreement back. Good. Now if we're done, I have to get ready for a date with Anko, and I don't think the woman can keep her sanity in the event it's stalled one more time," said Naruto, seeing the female Hokage smirk, while Shizune looked worried, given Anko's reputation. "Just make sure you don't knock her up on your first date, Gaki. The last thing I need right now is you making me godmother to another Uzumaki just like you," said Tsunade with Naruto, just smirking back.
"And give you more gray hairs sooner than later. Not a chance. I don't think that jutsu you use to hide your age could handle another Uzumaki like me. A Namikaze on the other hand," said Naruto, leaping out the window while ignoring Tsunade's words for him to come back and take his lumps for that remark.
"You'd ask for that one, Tsunade-sama," said Shizune, knowing the female Hokage had walked right into it after trying to embarrass the boy. "Shut it," said Tsunade, glaring at her student and aide. Konoha streets, sometime later. At the moment, Naruto was currently looking for Anko but found the special Junin was unreachable at the moment because no one knew where she was. And he found it a bit odd since normally the woman wasn't hard to even find. He was about to check Anko's place of residence when his internal danger sense went off and ducked into an alley before he was tackled by someone pinning him to a wall with a kunai to his throat. "I was waiting for you, Foxy-kun." "I hate waiting," said Anko, whispering into Naruto's neck. "I was looking, but I couldn't find you, Anko-chan, and was just going to check your place of residence so we could go on our date," said Naruto, feeling Anko pressing more of herself against him. "I'm sure. You owe me dango for being late." "Lots of dango," said Anko once more into his ear. "Anko-chan, what time did we agree to meet each other?" said Naruto, narrowing his eye at her with the woman humming slightly. "We didn't, Foxy-kun. We just when you got away from your last mission," said Anko while her mind daydreamed about all the dango she was going to feast on. "If there was no time set, then how can I be late and punished for it?" said Naruto, with the woman pausing in her thoughts before she realized he was right. And her dream sooner shattered after that. "Damn! I've forgotten just how smart you've become since I saw you before the second part of the Chunin exams started," said Anko, seeing Naruto glare slightly. "Please, you've seen me after that farce of a life I've lived. Now, do you want this date or not?" said Naruto with a raised eyebrow. "Oh, a man of action. I like that. Come on. I may not get all the dango I want from you for being late, but I'm still going to get some. And you're paying," said Anko, leading him to her favorite place to eat. "There's a limit," said Naruto, trying to keep up with her, dragging him to the sanctuary of her favorite food. So with several hours passing, a happily stomach-satisfied Anko left with Naruto, who was glad he had paid for the bill owed using the money borrowed from Jiraiya, and covered everything. Naruto inwardly thought the Sannin was an hypocritical idiot, but was strong enough to hold back Konoha's enemies, and for now was a necessary pain in the ass to have around the leap. Besides, pilfering the Toad Sannin's money was fun. "Wow, I'm so stuffed," said Anko, rubbing her slightly bulging stomach, knowing it was aching from being filled with dango. "I'm sure. So what else do you want to do?" said Naruto, seeing some surprise on Anko's face. "You still want to continue the date, even after basically being a pig, being rude and all-around jerk during our time talking," said Anko with a raised eyebrow. That was another thing that happened when Anko was with Naruto, as she had been her usual rude, in-your-face, and scary self the whole time. In a nutshell, Anko had been a real bitch, and had tried to at certain points make Naruto end the date early. It was how she had made men flee in the past soon after all the dates first started. And yet this kid a few years her junior wanted to keep going. It was unheard of. Unthinkable. "We both know that was not your true self. I want to date the real Mitarashi Anko. The one behind the mask used to fool people into believing you're something I know is just a form of deception," said Naruto, seeing Anko stiffen slightly. "So, you know," said Anko simply while seeing Naruto smirk at her. "You can't trick a trickster, Anko-chan. I can see through your act of happiness you put up because I had to do the same for everyone around me. You smile when I should cry. You smile when I should show anger. And you smile when you want to scream out in defiance against the very assholes that make your whole life miserable. I've been there and done that, said Naruto simply. Start over, said Anko. Hopefully. Start over. Follow me, Anko-chan. We can go for a walk in the park and talk like normal people, said Naruto, taking her hand and giving the back of it a gentle kiss that made Anko blush. Where did he learn that, I wonder? Said Ocelot inside Naruto's head while Big Boss just smirked. I may have given him a few pointers, said Big Boss, since he and Eva had their own special connection that he wanted Naruto to have with the women in his life. Not all of them, said Kyubi, knowing something about romance and making the female gender swoon when needed. Anko's apartment sometime later. Anko closed the door to her apartment, her heart spinning, feeling dizzy, and felt like she was walking on air. Why? Because for the first time in her life, Mitarashi Anko was truly happy, and didn't have to hide behind the sadistic bitch mask she created to scare away all the assholes wanting to tear apart her ass. In more ways than one. Some guys tried to have a date with Anko just to get between her legs and then brag about it. Not that they ever did. She saw through their intentions right away, hence why Anko acted the way she did with Naruto from the start on their date to turn the boy off and say it's not worth it to himself. But Naruto endured. He saw through her mask, saw the real Anko, wanted to know the real Anko. They had walked to the park, talked, laughed, and had a really good time. The hobbies they both had, their likes, dislikes, and their shared hatred for the morons trying to make their lives miserable. They hit it off nicely. I think I'm in love, said Anko before hitting the bed with a smile on her face. With Naruto. Naruto smiled as he found someone like him, who he could relate to, and really bond with outside of working for the Leaf while being a mercenary. Anko had it all in his mind. Beauty, brains, and the invisible brass balls between her legs needed to kick ass when it was required. Enjoying your time with that slut, said Sasuke, appearing to Naruto's side with his arm in a sling and glaring at the mercenary. First, I do enjoy my time with Anko-chan. Second, she's not a slut. Third, call her that again, and I'll cut off both your arms before burning them so you'll be crippled for life, said Naruto, glaring at Sasuke with his narrowed blue eye. Whatever, loser. We both know she spreads her legs for every guy in Konoha that wants a lay. That's what women are, stress relief for the real shinobi of Konoha. Women in the Leaf and the world are nothing more than slaves meant to breed us into existence. Their purpose is to cook, clean, and make male shinobi babies while the females follow in their parents' footsteps, said Sasuke, smirking at Naruto. So what does that make your mother? A slut? A whore? Said Naruto, seeing Sasuke's smirk turn into a furious scowl. You leave my mother out of this, said Sasuke, seeing Naruto smirk now. Why, you said it yourself. Women spread their legs for men. Your mother clearly did for the other members of your clan. Makes you wonder just who your father was, doesn't it? Maybe that's why your so-called father didn't pay any real attention to you. Maybe he thought you weren't really his son because of your slut for a mother, said Naruto, while not really believing it for a second since he knew the woman had been good to him in the past, but knew it would help anger Sasuke. And that's what he wanted? My mother is different. She was an Uchiha, said Sasuke, seeing Naruto frown at him. You can't exclude your mother from your line of thinking when it comes to women just because she was an Uchiha, asshole. Not that it matters. Women aren't the things you make them out to be in the first place, and I never believed that. If this is how you view women, then it's clear you don't deserve to be with one, and have kids that will no doubt act like you too, said Naruto, seeing Sasuke becoming infuriated by his words. I'll fuck whoever I want regardless if they consent to it or not. I'll even fuck that snake slut in there to rebuild my clan, and I'll get away with it because I'm an Uchiha. said Sasuke, as he was stuck hard in the stomach by Naruto's fist, and then his with a spinning elbow to the back of the Uchiha's skull. Let's get one thing straight, you sick fuck. The day Anko sleeps with you willingly is the day hell freezes over, and should you even have the nerve in raping the woman, I will cut your nuts off before force-feeding them down your fucking throat, said Naruto before putting his foot down on Sasuke's chest. You can't protect her from me. The IRA allows me to choose whoever I want to revive my clan. She'll be mine by the end of the week, said Sasuke with a grin on his face, but it was removed when Naruto drew his HF sword and put it to the Uchiha's face. Then maybe I should end you or remove your nuts right now. Also, if you read the fine print on the Shia, you would know it has to be with a woman who willingly wants to be with you and have your kids. You so much as rape a woman under the Sere, and you're up shit creek without a paddle, little man. You'll be milked by a machine for your sperm. Then they'll cut off your nuts, and then just to teach someone like you a lesson, you'll be thrown into a sector of the prison filled with sexually depraved men that would love to take out their depravity on fresh meat that comes their way for the rest of your natural life, said Naruto, glaring hatefully at the boy. The people won't let the Hokage do that. She has to bend to the will of the people, and the people love me no matter what I do, said Sasuke, seeing Naruto raise an eyebrow at him. Not for long. Besides, you aren't the only Uchiha left, and Itachi can always be granted a full pardon in exchange for his help in rebuilding what he almost destroyed, said Naruto, seeing Sasuke glaring at him. The Hokage would never do that, said Sasuke before feeling more pressure on his chest from Naruto's foot. Are you sure? For all your supposed greatness, Sasuke, the only thing great about you is your bloodline, and even then I question your ability for how fertile you are down there. Without your bloodline, much less your clan status, you'd be nothing, and everyone in the village would just act like you were just an ordinary shinobi, said Naruto before walking away. But I do have a bloodline. I do have clan status. And the people love me for it, said Sasuke, getting off the ground. Not everyone in the village loves you, Sasuke. Not everyone, said Naruto before fading into the shadows. Namikaze estates hours later. When Naruto came home, he was surprised to see the red-haired girl Tayuya there, sitting on the couch, and had a blush on her face that could match the hair on her head. Raising an eyebrow at the girl, she stood up and quietly handed a scroll to the Namikaze heir. Hey Gaki, the redhead here, Tayuya, is yours from now on, as she invoked an old law used by interrogated prisoners of a village to avoid being sent to prison by being a person's personal slave, and asked for you. While I opposed this decision on a personal level, this girl was unyielding about it, and in a way I know you'll treat her right regardless of her new status. Not that I would blame the girl given her connection to Orochimaru, and how the prison would react to having one of his bodyguards there. I highly doubt she'd make it through the week there before something happened. You are in a way her only chance at having a moderately normal life under your protection. Please treat her right, Naruto, just as you want to be treated. Tsunade. Well, this is, interesting, said Naruto, seeing Tayuya with his one eye, and saw what she was wearing was a single gray gown worn by people stripped of their clothing before being searched for weapons prior to interrogation. Something Anko had told him during their date when the topic came up. I'm yours to command. Gray Fox-sama, said Tayuya obediently, as she was under the impression that his real name was a sensitive topic, and decided to use his code name for now until granted permission. Naruto will do. I'm surprised you're being so calm and polite, Tayuya-san, said Naruto, seeing the girl blush slightly while he looked her over. It was the curse seal. That Toad-san put a seal on it so I wouldn't use or rely on it. Still, it feels nice not swearing so much, and I could get used to it. Naruto-sama, said Tayuya, saying his name at the last moment after nearly forgetting to address him by it. Me too. A beautiful girl shouldn't swear anyway, said Naruto with the girl blushing further. Naruto. There is the matter of clothing for me to wear. It was not addressed by the leaf in the eye department, said Tayuya, knowing that her clothing had been basically destroyed and was probably lucky to be given this much in terms of attire? Yes, there is. Are you wearing anything underneath that? Said Naruto with a raised eyebrow while Tayuya blushed even more. Why do you ask, Naruto-sama? Said Tayuya nervously, since she knew there were possible reasons for him asking. Well, when you sleep in your own bed, I wasn't sure if you were going to sleep in that or without it, so, said Naruto, trying to not to make himself out to be perverted while the QB seemed to enjoy it. Damn demonic fox. And my own bed? You're not going to have me join you in. Well, yours, Naruto-sama. Sad Tayuya, as she knew that some slaves had been tasked with warming their master's bed and other things that were perverted in nature. I'm not a pervert, Tayuya-chan, said Naruto with a smirk. I know, Naruto-sama, I didn't imply you were. Please don't punish me, said Tayuya, as she feared upsetting her new master and suffer painful humiliation at his hands. Punish you? Why would I do that? Said Naruto with a raised eyebrow. It's just... When you said you weren't a pervert, I felt like I had just somehow insulted you, master, and had opened myself up to be punished for it, said Tayuya with a hint of hope in her voice that she wouldn't be punished. I've been called, if not accused, of being worse, and by people who meant it. I'll show you the other bedrooms. You choose which one you want, Tayuya-chan, said Naruto, giving her a smile much to the redhead's confusion. You're giving me a choice, master, but I'm a slave. Your slave, said Tayuya, frowning since she had always been told during her training. True, but it doesn't mean I have to deprive your life of everything and be some pervert that would humiliate you just for the fun of it. It's not my style, said Naruto, showing her the extra bedrooms on the second floor of the Namikaze estates. What will I do while here, Naruto-sama? As your new slave, I need to have some kind of purpose, said Tayuya, seeing Naruto think for a second in deep thought over the matter. Well, there will be times when I have to leave for a mission outside of the village, and I won't be able to keep this place clean. That being said, I think your job while living here will be the maid of the house, and making sure it's clean. When there are no chores to do, Tayuya-chan, you will also be training to defend this house, and I will spar with you on occasion to ensure you don't slack off. Do you understand? Said Naruto, seeing Tayuya nod in understanding. I understand, Naruto-sama. Thank you, said Tayuya, bowing slightly. Good to hear. Tomorrow we'll shop for some clothing, and then some other necessities you may need. Sleep well. Tayuya-chan, said Naruto, nodding and headed for his own bedroom for some rest. Sleep well, Naruto-sama, said Tayuya as she chose her room, and went to bed after removing the grayish prison gown so she was just in her undergarments. Hokage Tower the next day. What is the meaning of this tsunade? Said Koharu, as she was restrained by a pair of ambu in the room, and her former teammate Homura, less than a foot away in a similar state. I'm going to get straight to the point. Danzo is dead. His root shinobi are being rounded up as we speak. Several of them have already confessed that they saw you two speak to Danzo on certain secret matters, on more than one occasion. Matters like the Uchiha clan and the rebellion they were going to cause, had it not been for Uchiha Itachi killing them all on orders from on high. Even worse, you decide to cover it up and call it a horrible massacre to give the people of the village to spoil Uchiha Sasuke. Something that made the little prick arrogant and quite full of himself since it first happened. Even if the brat learned the truth, it would only damage his psyche further, and possibly turn him against Konoha, said Tsunade, seeing the two old farts glaring at her. It was necessary to keep the Uchiha happy. Sharing and eyes have the power to restrain demonic chakra, and thus would be crucial in keeping the demon brat in check, said an angry Homura trying to get free. You spoiled the child of traitors, who would betray you all for more power if it meant leaving the village and selling this place out to our enemies. Bacchus, said Tsunade before she backhanded them both. Hard. Uchiha Sasuke is the future of the League. He is going to be your successor, said Homura, only to be backhanded again by Tsunade. Over my dead body. Uchiha Sasuke is never going to be Hokage of this village. As for you two bakas, Inoichi is going to dive into both of your heads and dig up every dirty little secret you've ever done before facing execution. Take them away, said Tsunade, seeing the two old morons go pale, knowing they had their hands in quite a few dirty deeds that would be more than enough to have them killed. Well, that went well, said Jiraiya, sitting on the open window, and saw Tsunade glare at him for obvious reasons. Don't start with me, Jiraiya. I took apart Danzo's body and found out Orochimaru helped experiment on his body using my grandfather's blood, mixed with Sharingan eyes, all surgically attached. Not only that, but I know for a fact you never had Naruto learn how to summon toads, and I suspect you're stalling, said Tsunade, seeing Jiraiya grimace while cursing the Gaki for no doubt telling her somehow. Maybe it was because they weren't mentioned in the last mission, the boy went on. The boy hates my guts, Tsunade. If I so much as turn my face slightly or speak in a tone off key, the brat would run me through with his damn sword, said Jiraiya before he was grabbed by the throat and pinned to the wall. I don't care if he would run his sword up your ass. You will give him the summoning scroll for the toads, or I'll beat you within an inch of your life again before giving it to him myself, said Tsunade, glaring at the man while tightening her grip on his throat. Well, when you put it like that, how could I refuse, said Jiraiya with a weak smile on his face. Good. Delay this one more day, and you will wish it was just Gamabunta kicking your ass instead of both of us, said Tsunade before throwing him out of the window into the village. With Naruto and Tayuya. You don't have to buy me so much, Naruto-sama. This is too much, said Tayuya, as she saw over half a dozen clones carrying multiple bags, and the redhead herself was now currently wearing more decent clothing than the prison rag she had worn the previous day. Nonsense. To provide you with too little is cruel, and I am not cruel, master, said Naruto, smiling at Tayuya, who blushed at his kindness since she had known very little of it. And her new master was basically unleashing more than she ever had in her entire life. Naruto Baka, said Sakura, making herself known to Naruto from behind them, and the Namikaze sighed before motioning the clones to head home with Tayu's bag. Go with them. Tayuya-chan, said Naruto, seeing Tayuya look uncertain at first because she didn't want to leave her master, but he had given an order and had to obey him. Yes, Naruto-sama, said Tayuya, before pecking him right on the cheek, and following the clones with some of them snickering while Naruto himself gave them a glare to shut them up. What is it, Sakura? Said Naruto, turning to face the pink-haired girl. Explain to me right now what the Hokage is doing. She's liquidating the councils. She's basically fired my dad. We're losing everything due to the Hokage's order to investigate our financials and frozen our accounts until further notice, said Sakura, as she had woke up this morning with her parents and met an Anbu captain handing them official orders from the Hokage about what was about to happen. Simple. The councils have been found guilty of charges of treason against the Hokage, as they have been usurping her rule and breaking countless village laws while using their positions of power to cover it up. Your family included. They have drained funds from the treasury for their special projects that will not benefit anyone, except in their wallets, and have put the village in great danger. While I care little for the majority of the village itself given my past with it, I do care for the minority that are not idiots, and are worth saving, said Naruto, as he had plans for that minority, and would see they had a place to call their own where they could be accepted. My parents are innocent. You go to the Hokage right now and make her fix this, or I will, said Sakura, but was shut up by Naruto's killer intent, and he walked up to her until his face was inches from the girl's own. You'll do what? Hit me. Insult me further. You're pathetic. Weak. You're as strong as a newborn kitten. You think your life is bad now. It's paradise to my childhood. Now shut your damn mouth before I do it by breaking your jaw in different places so Tsunade has to wire it shut, said Naruto before kneeing the girl in the gut and walked off. He had more pressing matters to attend to, like setting his plan for outer heaven in motion. Time to drop off some old-fashioned mail, said Big Boss, seeing Naruto pull out different letters addressed to different individuals scattered throughout the elemental countries. The one real thing in the world that hasn't changed since our deaths, said Ocelot with a smirk on his face, while remembering how technology had advanced so much in terms of communicating with people. Better that it's the mail system that survives than that of guns or the atomic bomb, said Frank Jaeger, with Big Boss and Ocelot agreeing to that statement. Well, Ocelot agreed about the bomb part, not the guns part. Taki Village several days later. Fu hated her life. Why? Because the people in Taki made it that way. They hated her for being the seven-tailed Jinchuriki. Something she didn't ask for. Didn't want to be, yet Fu was stuck with it and had to keep her mind sharp. Early on in life, Fu learned the hard way that people will seem nice, but had the power to trick and deceive you if the signs of it were not known. Which was why Fu immediately became suspicious of the letter the Chunin-ranked Taki shinobi had handed to her and carefully checked for any kind of explosive or toxic air-releasing seal before opening it. Dear Fu of Taki, my name is Gray Fox. I am a mercenary currently employed by the Li. I know you are hated in your village. I know the people there would sooner celebrate the day of your death than mourn it. I am offering you a way out by joining me along with those like you to my sanctuary for abused people like us. Yes, I said us. I am like you, Fu. I am the nine-tailed Jinchuriki. And like you, I too was hated by my village. The only reason I serve them now is a means to an end for fulfilling a vision where people abused for what we are can be free from it.